first ones to have a Pro-Charge 2021 Escalade.
Most people want to keep it as quiet as they can. Not Bill. Hot rod sound and Escalade.
So this is a 46 Ford Coupe.
Recover the seat, little dash pad, be good.
When I say everything, this is everything. I want to drop it all the way on the ground. The air suspension on it, late model 5.0 in this thing. It's a total surprise for Ryan's dad.
Total surprise.
She looks really pretty.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
My old friend Ryan called me. He said he got a new project for us to do it. His family owns a company that builds and sells records. In fact, his dad started the business back in the 70s. Ryan, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for coming out, Bill.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Got this project for you here.
These the ones you're talking about?
We're going to start with this one here.
What year is this thing?
So this is a 46 Ford Coupe, and my dad bought it back in 86 when he turned 40. Tore it apart about 15 years ago, and here we sit. Same spot.
Oh, man. You know, I've heard this story a million times. A shop takes in the car, tears it apart, there it sits for years, and they never finish it.
I need somebody to put it back together.
Yeah?
Something special.
How old's your dad now?
74.
Does he know about this?
Knows nothing about this project. He does so much for everybody else in the community.
Yeah,
Gives his shirt off his back. Doesn't do anything for himself, so it's time to give back.
Man, that's awesome.
So-
I'm in on it. You know, I've never had one of these in the shop. It's going to be a first for us, but man, I've always admired these. You know, just looking at this car, it's going to be a cool car, but to have somebody, you know, think of you the way Ryan's thinking of his dad, that's a cool gift.
Looking for something that he can drive to the show, not only just a trailer queen, that he can get down on the highway and do 80, cold AC.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. We'll make it something he can burn the tire lot of trophies.
That sounds good. This car used to be called Blue Thunder when he got it. You know how they used to nickname their cars.
Oh, yeah?
So we need to do something with that.
So it's got to be blue.
Yes, sir. Got to be blue. We're looking for a dark metallic blue that pops blue when the sun hits it. Looks a little darker at night.
This is a cool, iconic body style, but this thing's got to sit right. So we're going to start out by building air suspension on this thing to get it really, really low to the ground with the right wheels and tires and get that stance perfect. Man, what you got under the hood of this? Is there air?
Let me just show you.
Oh, man. We can't have nothing in here like this, man.
Got an old 350 Chevy in it, so that's wrong right off the bat.
I mean, that's definitely going to come out and just start fresh with a new 5.0 in this thing. Man, when he pushes on the gas pedal, man, he's going to be happy.
That's what we need. You know, I can't wait for my father to have that smile on his face that he has for everybody else, but this time for himself.
Let's see what the interior looks like in there. Should I say lack thereof? Oh, yeah. Recover the seat, little dash pad, be good. No, man, there's nothing in here we can use.
You know, Bill, I know you got the outside all figured out and stuff. Then inside, take it to the next level.
Just taking it to the next level wouldn't be very hard on this interior. I want your old man to get this thing back, open the door, and sit down in here and just feel like he's 40 again. Because he might have a heart attack on this one.
But this will stop him taking those little blue pills, so we'll be all right.
Yeah, you won't need them no more after this, right?
We snuck you in while he's out at the races. Let me get it over to your place, and then we'll go from there. Sounds
Get
great.
back rolling. I love that Ryan's giving something back to his dad. You know, not just anything, a custom 46 Ford. It's just that little extra that's going to make this cool old car even more badass. You know, most people see a car like this and go, man, look at that cool old car. But for me, when I see an old car like this, all I can think about is how many hours it's going to take to make this thing cool. You know, there's a lot of differences in customizing a new car versus an old car. A new car, you don't have to worry about lining up body panels. You don't have to worry about, you know, the hood latching correctly. I mean, you put wheels and tires, do your thing on it, slam the door, go about your business. So, you know, an old car, just the opposite. You have to address every single part on a car. there's going to be hours just getting the hinges lined up. There's going to be hours getting the window regulators working properly. There's going to be hours of just getting the window felt in. I mean, nobody ever sees you do this thing. There's only one thing to do. Quit talking about it and get to it.
Whoa! Has this thing always been back here?
You don't get out of the office much, do you?
No.
It's a total surprise for Ryan's dad.
It's a hell of a surprise.
Right? You know, I want to get this thing in the shop and blow it totally apart. We got to make this thing really low. I want to do air suspension on it. I want to put 20s on the front, 22s on the back, maybe a 22s on the front. I'll just kind of see how it looks. Once it's up on the lid, we'll see if there's anything underneath we can salvage.
Find out what's underneath all this.
Yeah, I'm really nervous, man. This thing, you can tell the body work's been done a long time ago, and there's a lot of it on here, so it's going to take a lot of work.
This thing's already got Blue Thunder on the back. Are you staying with Blue on this?
It'd be sacrilegious to change that, right? You know, we got to bring old Blue Thunder into the 21st century. You know, this engine definitely ain't gonna cut it. It's got a Chevy engine now. Don't want that. We're on a late model 5.0, 6-speed transmission, new wiring harness, pedal, column, radiator hoses. When I say everything, this is everything.
So for the interior, looks pretty complete. It's got an awesome seat in there.
I'm gonna take this out.
You win.
But everything other than that, you know, there's nothing there. So new bucket seats, bench seat in the back, of course, stereo equipment. Get with John, see what kind of equipment we need. Let's get it ordered, get the carpet, get the headliner, get the window felt, window regulators, you know, one-piece side glass.
We're building the whole car, everything ground up, 100%.
Man, that's exactly what we're gonna do. You know, this thing is gonna require everybody in the shop. There's nothing on here that we're not gonna handle.
There's a whole process after process on this. Let's call it Blue Process.
Well, let's get to the first process, getting this thing in, get to it.
Got it. Let's do it.
This car's been sitting around rusting for who knows how long. So we'll start by getting up on the lift just to see how long our to-do list is. Ooh, look at that. Had intentions of just doing suspension on this, but you know, after looking at this frame, it's got to go. Our transmission is going to be a lot bigger. It's a big 6-speed transmission, so it's way bigger. So we'd have to cut all this out to make room. The easiest thing to do is just get rid of this old frame and just go over to the just unbolt the body, get it off the blast, and we'll get the body shop guys busy for a while. Man, Timmy, we thought we were just going to be able to salvage this.
That's like demoing a whole house to build a new one, but leaving the cracked slab. Want a good foundation to start with. If not, it's just going to be problems down the road. Body separated from the chassis. We're going to roll the chassis out, fasten the body to a body cart. We'll send this off to get media blasted, and we'll see how it looks when it comes back from media blast.
You know, I can really appreciate a surprise like Ryan's going to do for his dad with this coupe. I surprised my wife Jennifer by customizing her cars a few times. I might have gone a little bit too big for her taste, but she's got a new truck, and I'm ready to try one more time.
Did you steal the wife's car?
Yeah. You know, I want to surprise her. You know, I want to do a couple things to it. You know, she calls it Betty, so I want to get Betty hooked up.
So is this going to be a little surprise, or one of your SEMA take her car, or taking the SEMA 2-week surprises?
And then I was like, oh, I'll just take it to the shop and fix a little dent on the back. And 2 weeks later, it was in Vegas at the SEMA show, totally repainted, full interior stereo. She wasn't too happy. Couldn't haul groceries in the back anymore, but I think we got to get it down on the ground.
I knew that. I knew it for you to say. I knew exactly what you were going to say.
I mean, look at that fender well gap there, man. That's way too big, right? We'll drop it down probably about 6 inches, you know, just a little bit, about 6 inches. You know, fill that up with a nice big wheel and tire. And, you know, we just can't have a 22, 24. We got to have a big wheel and tire, right?
Something to separate it from the rest, but still make it drivable. They didn't even have a kit to lower this?
Man, that's what we do. So we got an empty rack. We'll just pull it in, pull the wheels off, see what happens. I mean, we might even get it on there and just decide just to put air suspension on it and get it down really, really low.
That's the bill, I know. I don't know of a better way to say I love you and thank you than dropping her new Escalade to the ground, put some big wheels on it, and making her stand out.
That's an extensive way, right?
Yeah.
You know, good-looking stance with the right wheel and tire, it just gives it that attitude, that aggressive classiness. Set her apart from, you know, all the other soccer moms, and it feels special the whole time she's driving. You know, won't be another one like it. You know, she works hard every day, pretty much takes care of the kids, because we always work late, getting home late. We're going to get her hooked up.
It definitely takes a lot to put up with what we do. It's a good call.
Yeah, she's been needing a little surprise lately.
She married you, she has to like surprises.
So what are we doing to Mom's truck?
Yeah, we're gonna lift it really high. Just big 44s on it. You know, make it real easy for her to get in and out of.
Oh, yeah.
She'll love it. No, you know, I want to give her something that's cool, right? You know, back since the beginning of Extensive, I've always kind of experimented with my wife Jennifer's cars.
So is this going to be like Mom's last car? Or last surprise?
No. You know, I don't know what we're gonna do yet. See how difficult this is. This is all new platform underneath. I heard it's independent rear suspension now, so we're about to find out. With her 2021 Escalade, I want it to be custom and cool. But, you know, maybe just a little more understated than I have in the past. You know, me and Jennifer have been together since before the beginning of Extensive Metalworks, so she's been around the car game just as long as I have. You know, as soon as Jennifer gets this back, she sees all the time and effort we put into it, how cool it looks. That's definitely going to put a smile on her face. You know, on the 2021 Escalade, it's been totally redesigned. This is 100% brand new, top to bottom, and it's unfamiliar territory for us. It's crazy how much cars have come in the last 5 years, 10 years. But, you know, that's part of it. This is definitely a learning experience, and, you know, you grow with the technology in a car, advancing with it every year. We want to stay up with the latest and greatest and be ahead of the curve.
What'd you figure out?
Just lowering springs, we got to change that out. You know, we'll put new coils on it so it just drops it down, gets rid of that big fender well gap, you know, with a nice wheel and tire. It's going to fill all that up and keep it all black too. Yeah, that's going to set the whole aggressive tone to it, right? Speaking of tone, muffler, you got to change that tone too. It's a 6.2 in this, and you can't really tell it any different from a Tahoe that's got a 5.3 in it. So there's restrictors and opens it up a little bit. You got to make it look good, got to make it sound good, and you got to make it run good. We need the Pro Charger.
Y'all are definitely two peas in a pod. Both of y'all want to go fast.
You know, there's nothing available for this. It's so new, so Justin will have to build whatever it needs. And these little steps can't have the pontoon look, right? We got to get rid of those. Put the retractable steps on so it looks nice, clean, streamlined, lower the ground.
Man, I'm not going to lie. When you first told me you're going to surprise her, I was a little nervous myself because I've been a couple of these surprises and they go off the chart sometimes.
You know, most of the time I would really go for the full air suspension, lay it on the ground. But, you know, I want to make something that's perfect for her. So I have Tim and Dave changing out the springs.
First thing we're going to do the Escalade is get the stance right. We're going to take the struts out, put new springs on this thing, and we put it back together. It's going to lower the vehicle but still give you the same ride. So this basically holds the truck up in the air, and the shock dampens it. So when you hit a bump, it doesn't keep bouncing. By getting a new coil spring that's a little bit lower, it's going to lower this down to say right about here somewhere. It should be about 1.5 to 2 inches lower.
What we're going to be doing is if you don't have this specialty tool, you should probably not try and do this at all. It's pretty dangerous, you know, to be messing with something that's compressed and has a lot of pressure in it. We'll be able to loosen this nut up here and remove the shock. So the only thing we're going to be changing out is the spring to lower the ride height. We will reuse this and the boot. Only thing aftermarket should be just the spring.
Lowering springs for you, sir. This should bring it down a little bit, tighten up that wheel gap, make it sit right.
Now we gotta work on it.
Yeah, you do.
Later, buddy. Later, boys. Want to make it a little more sporty, bring it down just a little bit, but not enough that every time she goes over something, she's got to hit a bump or she's got to worry about rubbing it off. Now we have all the springs mounted. We're going to bolt them on the truck. One step closer. And it's in bad a shape as we thought. Before the body shop guys get their hands full with the body, the owner wants us to get it all the way on the ground with a full custom air suspension. You know, it's part of the surprise for his dad. You know, it's exciting to get a new project in, a new frame started, and just to build somebody's dreams. Everything to start starts with the frame. Let's see what we got here. 32. It's on the money. You know, it brings you back to being a little kid and building that first little model. I mean, that's basically what we do every day. Get to bring back our childhood memories of building all that cool stuff, but now we get to do it for real. We've got our measurements here, 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 and that'll do it. So I got all the measurements I need. I'm going to transfer them right on a drawing that we have on the table. I can see actually in real time how the frame's going to look. So there's no mistakes on mismeasuring. We're going to go right off our templates, transfer them right to the saw, start chopping, start putting together. Got it, man. That's all laid out.
You know what the thing looks like? 46 Ford frame. Rule of thumb here is cut everything in twos, two sides of the frame. So we're going to make two cuts same time, so they're exactly the same. I guess the difference between building a custom frame and an OEM frame would be you could put things in different places for clearance issues, and definitely cool factors, you know, to make things different because of the cool. Now I got all the pieces cut and beveled. Now it's time to go ahead and start assembling this frame. They're looking good, nice, square, level. This thing is going to be right. So now we're off to mocking up the suspension. You know, on the 46 Ford, we're going to build a two-link suspension with air. You know, I prefer a two-link suspension on a vehicle like this just because you can, on this, we're shooting for about 11 inches of lift. So you get a lot of lift out of it with a really nice ride quality. And the other advantage of the two-link is with it bolted super tight with the U-bolts, it doesn't allow it to sway like a four-link suspension and have to compensate with sway bars. That's why we're going with a two-link on this versus a four-link or other types of suspension. Just trying to make sure the front of the two links are even and equal, the same height. So I'm putting my flat bar right here, basically as a leg. So I'm going to go ahead and clamp it, and I'll be able to manipulate this height-wise. I need 9 7/8 on this side, so I'll be able to touch this up to 9 7/8 on this side. It's a lot of measuring, a lot of looking across everything, make sure everything's parallel, everything's even. But taking all this time to do all that, I'll pay off in the end because everything will be perfect. Everything's going to be straight and true. That's exactly what we're looking for. As big as a frame build is, the interior in the coupe is non-existent. So John's starting from less than 0.
Yes, this car has absolutely no interior in it. I think when it came in, it had a folding chair maybe in it. That's actually kind of the fun of this. It is, with it being a blank canvas, there's nothing there that dictates what it has gone, so we get to pick where everything's at and place things where we want it and do our own design in it. I've got a template for my kick panel, a template for the door panel, and for the rear quarter panel. Everything's marked off where they line up together in the car so that everything has the same height that I need, so I can sketch this out to get all my patterns laid out so that everything will fit. Bill's thought and his idea is he wants Dad to get in his car and sit down and feel like he's still in his old hot rod. He doesn't want anything too new and too outlandish in this. He wants nice, clean, subtle lines in this. We want to get this thing just a nice, clean, classy feel so when he sits in it, he can feel like he's back in the old days. It's kind of one of those great things working around here. A lot of times we're just given free will to do whatever we want, so to be able to sit down and think it out and dream up something just different than everybody else's is really what makes this job so much fun. All the way from the beginning aspect, all the way to the headaches that you have, all the way to the end of it until it's finished. Every bit of it makes it fun because you get to design everything from your own ideas and your own perspectives. Erasing, delete. Good thing about these sketches is it's all fluid, so it's constantly changing, so you're never stuck to one thing if you got an eraser. And that's going to be a tall ridge here. So this is our insert fabric that we're going to use just for our accent color. That's going to be going here in our doors and also here. Plus we'll have it worked into the seats, so it's just that little extra pop just so it's not all the same fabric in the whole car. So now it's time to bring Blue Thunder back to life. We got the stance on my wife's 21 Escalade just right. Now I want to give it a better overall tone. Bill wants to get rid of this stock muffler. It works from the factory. Most people want to keep it as quiet as they can. Not Bill. It doesn't have the rumble he's looking for. The wrecker. You know, this new muffler flows a lot better than the factory does. It gives a little throatier sound. Jennifer's going to love it. What school teacher wouldn't love pulling up your parking lot a hot rod sound and Escalade? So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go ahead and tack this first one. That way I can make sure it's square with the frame this way. And then I'll know, not only do I need this to go over, I also need it to come down. So it's got to be like a 45 down and 45 over to one direction. Basically what I'm doing right now is trying to figure out a little jig so I know how to bend it. So I don't have to make 52 trips to the truck and back. I can just make me a little deal here. So I measure from this line down is 2 inches. So if I take 2 inches out of this right here, it should give me exactly what I need. According to the jig, this should flow exactly where I need it. Give me an exact angle this way and this way. When it fits good, now I do is weld it up. Bill's wife's got a brand new sports car sounding Escalade. My wife's a little like me. She likes to give her vehicles a little extra horsepower. So I asked Justin to add a Pro Charger. Because this truck is so new, he's going to have to figure out the whole setup.
It's pretty neat that we're going to be the first ones to have a Pro Charge 2021 Escalade. Like, nobody's worked on one of these. Like, they don't make a kit out for it yet, so we're going to come up with we should see anywhere between 150 to 200 extra rear wheel horsepower on this thing once we get it tuned. We're going to try to squeeze the intercooler through here without removing the grill. So this one here is their what you would call like a stage 2 intercooler. So if you look at the thickness of the core, it's about a ½ inch wider than the one that would come in your base model kit. This one here is going to provide a lot better cooling for the extra air we're about to shove in this motor. We're running into clearance issues, these air louvers right here. So since it's such a large intercooler and such a tight space, to be on the safe side, instead of trying to force it in there, we're going to go ahead and remove the bumper and remove the support so that we can just drop it right into place. With this being a 2021, it's the first time pulling one of these bumpers off, so it can be a little time consuming. You know, you don't want to get in a hurry. You want to make sure that, you know, you get all the hardware out. You know, it's easy to, you know, miss a bolt here and there. And the last thing you want to do is piss off Bill's wife. So we need to make sure that we take our time and do it right the first time. There we go.
Just to fit the brackets on the supercharger. It's taking a bit more work, but it'll all be worth it in the end.
So that's what happens when you're dealing with a new vehicle. Something, you know, seems as simple as taking a bumper off can eat up most of your time. So this here is our supercharger. It's the P1X, their high output version. So now that we have the blower installed, all we gotta do is connect from our blower to our intercooler, from our intercooler to our throttle body. So the reason we use the rubber couplers instead of everything hardline is because you have vibrations of the motor, and whenever it torques over, it'll want to move. So you need to have movement. So that's why we're going with all these rubber couplers. So right now we're putting the belt on. We're trying to adjust the tensioner to make sure that we have the most amount of tension, but also where the tensioner is within range, because you don't want it maxed out where it's too tight, where the tensioner is not doing its job, and at the same time you don't want it too loose. So we're just fine tuning it right now to make sure we have it set right. The next step is to get our fan shroud back in. Once our fan shroud goes back in, then we get to start doing some of the custom piping and getting this thing wrapped up.
We have the rear suspension on the coupe all mocked up. Now we can make the custom bag mounts.
Let's block it back up. Even something just as simple as a gusset for the upper bag mount. I mean, somebody just looking at it just looks like a piece of pipe, but you got to take into consideration where the shock's going to be, where the differential's going to be, where the air fitting's going to be. You want to make sure it's right. You want to take your time to notch it right, cope it right, sand it right, and attach it right.
Done daily. On this particular chassis, we're going to use a diagonal link, which mounts a fixed point of the frame over to the moving part of the suspension itself, and it keeps everything 100% true all the way up, all the way down. There's no deflection of that whatsoever. We're able to build that into this suspension because there's nothing in the way. A lot of the times there'll be a gas tank in the way or exhaust in the way, or a lot of things could be in the way once you're building a suspension around something that's already there. The advantage of this is it's going to stay nice, true, straight up and down, and perfect. Back in 46, these coupes didn't have much of a speaker system, so John's going to bring the audio into this century, but he's also going to keep it with his classic look.
It didn't have subwoofers in 46, so what we're going to do is actually take and disguise that subwoofer. So basically, when you pop the trunk and look in, all you'll see sitting there is a suitcase and think it's a piece of luggage. You'll never even know that it's a subwoofer. For the corners of the suitcase, I want them to be rounded, so in order to do that, I'm going to take the PVC and cut it into quarters. That way I can use those as the corners of the box and then just glass them from the inside. It's kind of like making oatmeal. Put a little water in your bowl, a little bit of oatmeal in there, stir it up. You don't want your oatmeal too lumpy. Martha Stewart, eat your heart out. All we're doing with this is just reinforcing our PVC corners. So the first step we're going to take to make this thing look like a suitcase, we're going to use a scoop bit. We're going to run around the outside edge of the top, a little bit on the bottom, nice rounded over corner. We can do the body work. Take this fiberglass filler here, hit my outside corners, get them smoothed in. Just got to give these corners a little bit of love, get good round and smooth. Next thing we'll do, cut some lines in this, put some grooves in it. Don't mess it up. Really got to take our time to make sure we don't screw this up. And it could turn into a whole remake, and ain't nobody got time for that. I have confidence in myself. Oh God, I moved it. We'll also have to add a groove to the top edge and the bottom edge for all the material to roll into. So we're just going to take and work our way around the box, rolling it and flipping it to get our groove in it. All right, now that we've got all the grooves cut in it, this thing's really starting to look like a suitcase. So the next thing I gotta do, just sit down, do a little bit of detail sanding on it. This thing will be ready to wrap.
We fabricated the custom frame and suspension for the 46 Ford on the table. Now it's time to get it up underneath the body. Thunder's coming along. It's really starting to take shape. We got all the old yuckiness out. So from the firewall back, 100% true square straight. But I found the easiest way to build chassis like this is locating the front cross member. Once that's located, you know the height you want, that locates our wheelbase.
141 and 3/4 or 16 too far.
Hammer's right there.
That's it.
So we have this dead center of the fender wells. Now that we have our front end on, we know where that center is. Next step is just connecting the cross member all the way down the frame. This car is gonna run unbelievable, ride really good, and really low. It's at the perfect stage to really start creating. We know exactly what we need to install the Pro Charger. But with the 21 Escalade being so new, Justin has to reinvent the entire wheel on this one.
So with the supercharger, we're gonna have pressure inside the pipe, and the last thing we want to do is we're putting a bead roll on the end of the pipe so that the silicone coupler, whenever we clamp it, doesn't want to slide off under boost. This is the flange for the blow-off valve. Typically, it would tie back into the inlet pipe to the supercharger. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna vent it to the atmosphere so we got that cool swishing sound. Now we got our 3.5-inch aluminum prep. We got our hole drill for our mass airflow sensor flange. The mass air and the O2 sensors work together. So if we dump off any air to the atmosphere, throw off our O2 sensors and the computer won't read right. So now that we have our blow-off valve flange on, our mass air flange on, and our extension piece that goes into our coupler, now we can go install it on the vehicle. We can go ahead and pre-install our new blow-off valve. They actually sound better on supercharged cars. Because on a turbo car, they only open up under like acceleration. On a supercharged car, it's the opposite. It's open all the time until you give it gas, and then it'll close. And that's how you kind of hear more of that swishing sound. So now that we got the flange welded on, we got the 2 screws to hold in our sensor into our piping, just like we wanted. We can install our charge pipe and put some clamps on. And Life's definitely gonna have the fastest SUV in the faculty parking lot now.
The best days at work are always with a dog. If I do set up a table for me, and this guy happens to use it for a bed, I'll put my stuff on the floor. You should just lay there and do nothing. I gotta go work. Look at this 2021 Escalade in the shop. It's already a good looking truck. It was good looking off the factory floor. But Bill being Bill, it always needs something. These steps just aren't gonna cut it. So he wants a retractable step. When you open the door, it folds down. When you shut the door, this will tuck back up, fold away, and you'll never see the step at all. It's gonna make it look sleek, and it gives it a custom touch. First step we're gonna do, just unbolt the old step, take it completely off, get it out of the way, and then we'll start with the new one. This motor here will go to a door pin. When the door opens, it lets us know this needs to come down. When the door shuts, it retracts this back up. upper right there. The new plastics have a little indentation right here, so when this folds up, it tucks right in tight and it makes it disappear. Plastics on there that allow the step to go up and it'll fold right with the new plastic. It looks better, it functions better, and it's easier for little ones or old ones to get in and out.
You know, I'd be lying if I wasn't a little nervous to see what Jennifer thinks. But I think this time we nailed it. You know, her Escalade's still classy, but custom, just the way she likes it. You know, well, I hope. As you know, I got a long history of customizing cars, and something you might not know, I have a long history of customizing my wife's cars too. The thing I got her was a Cadillac SRX. Took it to the Las Vegas SEMA show and killed it. The bad part about it was getting it home. It had so many speakers, there was no place to put the groceries, so she hated it. Every time I cut into one of my wife's cars, I'll always have the best intentions. I always want riding around in. You know, that's the feeling I get when I drive around in a cool car. I want her to have that same feeling. You know, my wife driving a totally bone stock car, it hurts. It hurts seeing that. It's kind of like, you know, if I was a roofer, my roof was leaking, that's something you just can't have. You know, I've been known to maybe go a little overboard here and there, but you know, one of these days I'm gonna come up with that perfect combination for her that you're just gonna totally love. Thank you for lunch.
No problem.
Thank you. Hey, I want to tell you something. Remember, you know, I took the Cadillac in, had a recall, and I took it from you. It didn't really have a recall. I want to surprise you with something special. So I took Betty and I've done a couple things to her to make her stand out.
Like?
Well, you're about to see. You ready? You excited?
No.
Timmy's going to bring it around right now.
This is not the first time that Bill's taken one of my cars. We've had some cars where he has taken them and he's done things to them and they have not turned out well. That's a little stressful for me. Okay, so not so bad. I'm very proud. I appreciate you listening. It looks awesome.
Surprise!
Yeah, no. Beautiful.
Are you pleasantly surprised?
I'm pleasantly surprised. Thank you. Pleasantly surprised. She looks beautiful.
So I did good?
So far. I don't know. There might be more. I don't know. From what I can see right here, yes.
There's a little more.
She rides the same.
Better. You know, the first thing you notice when coming down the road, you know, Betty just looked way too tall. So what we had to do is get it in the shop and we changed out the springs. You know, took it all apart, took the cool springs out and replaced it with the shorter spring to give it that low stance, to get rid of that fender well gap. And, I mean, you got it all blacked out already. You had to have the black wheels.
Of course. Now, if I had to pick wheels, that would be something that I would pick. They're very clean, very pretty, very nice.
Yeah. And it's still going to retain that factory Cadillac ride. Classy.
Oh, the runners. Oh, I knew you were going to do that. It looks beautiful. It looks beautiful.
Can't have that old pontoon look. Just to give it that clean, streamlined look.
I'm going to cry.
You know, after 28 years together, you know, every once in a while you got to show your appreciation, right? And you show your appreciation in giving your wife something really cool to drive.
You did good. You did good. I will never say it again.
I was surprised as you were when Bill said, nope, we're going to go just a couple mods on this one.
They haven't always turned out as well.
Let's check out under the hood. I got a little surprise under there for you.
Okay. Oh, wow.
You know, they don't make a kit for this. So Justin adapted everything and made the whole Pro Charger work on this.
So all this is custom.
Yep. Every bit. It runs real good.
It's very nice.
You're about 620 horsepower now. So Betty is going to get it. You're definitely going to make up some time and have plenty of extra leisure time now.
Cool.
I knew you were going to love it.
Yep, it's awesome. It sounded pretty.
Yeah, it sounds good. It had a little whistle to it. You needed that. Just way too quiet from the factory. I mean, looking at it, it's got to have a little deeper tone to the exhaust, so you get that whole attitude. When you roll up...
Oh, she's definitely gonna draw some attention.
Most definitely.
It's nice.
I'm glad you like it. I think we did good. If she was making this car herself, I think we gave it her exactly what she...
This is really nice. You did a great job, and I'm very flattered. And all the other teachers are going to be really jealous. Beautiful.
Just like you.
Oh, my gosh.
Is a 2017 F-150 pull-out with this engine. The 5.0 Coyote is a great platform for making a lot of power. We're going to change a couple things. We're going to change intake, put headers on it, and with the tune and E85, it should make about an extra 100 rear-wheel horsepower. So this thing's going to make plenty of power for old Coupe. How do you start stretching every day, all day? On the really big jobs like the 46 Coupe, you just know it's going to be a marathon. Ow.
So we're stripping down the engine, taking all the old stuff off, stuff we're not going to use.
Every step you take, there's 100 more to go. We like to recycle. Just like going to pick up old dogs, we get old motors. We got a good sticker. Next step's finishing up the front suspension. Keep going on the bodywork and make that interior all from scratch. But man, once Ryan's dad sees Old Blue Thunder, this is...
Now it's time to put some new metal back on this thing.
I don't know if we ever worked on an MG here before. Whose car is this?
Some guy named John Cena.
There's a whole community that lives and breathes these cars. There's going to be all eyes on this when we're done. The all-tube custom buggy is a huge job. Is it going to make some power?
1,500 horsepower and about 2,000 foot-pounds of torque.
It's going to be a rocket.
Definitely going to bring my helmet.
You're definitely going to need your helmet.
I know, riding with you.
Man, it's cool when it always comes together.
That can't be mine. Whoa, look at there.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
You know, ever since Extensive started, trying to get jobs in the door, somebody had a crazy idea. Cool, bring it on. I'll figure it out. I didn't tell them I would figure it out. Man, no problem at all. But, getting into the job, you have that little anxiety of, man, I'm not real sure what to do. But, I know I can figure it out. No matter how big the job is, how small the job is, we get in and we get it figured out every time. Here, cut my truck in half and make it a little longer. No problem at all. We'll figure it out. Here we are, 23 years later. We're still saying yes to all the jobs, no matter how big, how small. That's exactly why I get at the shop every morning early. Morning. Getting the guys going, getting parts coming, trying to coordinate is super tough. So getting to work early is absolutely what it takes to keep building the business, to keep getting cars in and out. That's the name of the game.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if we ever worked on the MG here before, but
what's your first?
I'm always up for it. The MGC was only produced 1967 to 1969. There wasn't that many of them even made, let alone still around to customize.
extensive and real big into the British motoring scene, but, you know, I guess somebody wants to customize this, I'm in. Whose car is this?
Some guy named John Cena.
Surely not the John Cena, right? I mean, look at this car. That's a big old dude to have a little car, so it can't be. Can't be. You know, it'd suck to have the same name as a famous guy, right?
I mean, until you go get a dinner reservation.
Well, I guess you get a pretty good table, huh?
Yeah, until you show up.
Right? So you don't have any idea what we're doing, anything?
Nope. I'm going to text you this information. You can take care of it.
Yeah, text me all that, man. I'll get in touch with them, see what we're doing to it. You know, I could look around this car all day and, you know, just have a bunch of ideas. But until I actually talk to the owner, John Cena, once I talk to him, get a game plan nailed down, we'll kind of go from there. It's just point, we don't even have an empty bay for this build. So before we even think about getting going, we got to finish up old Blue Thunder, the 46 Ford Coupe.
How's everything with the Coupe out there?
You know, that's a big project, right? Big.
Yeah.
A long, drawn-out process. You know, getting the body to where it's at now just has taken months and months.
Oh, yeah, that thing was beat up.
It was definitely beat up. You know, after decades of collecting dust in the garage, my Northside neighbor Ryan wants to surprise his dad by having us customize his 46 Ford to make it one of one. We made good headway. You know, the body work's mainly all done on the outside of the car, which is really saying something. That's a lot of work on that whole car. Ton. The floor's in. We got a long way to go still. We got to build the running boards, firewall. We need to finish the front suspension. That way we can get the frame off to powder coat. We can get the body on a cart, and they can start doing the final body work and pick a color and make old Blue Thunder come back to life.
Color's gonna be blue.
I mean, it's still Blue Thunder. Right? If it was named back in the 80s, and
But his name.
yeah, you know, it's our first time working on a 46, but it ain't our first time building a cool car, that's for sure.
Or the last.
Damn, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully my sons do that for me one day. Who knows? These days, it's getting a lot harder just to find the parts. A lot of the times, it's just easier, sometimes faster, just to make them ourselves. So John's going to make those new running boards.
The car from the factory came with running boards, and because we don't have none, it needs something there between the front and rear fender. It looks like something's missing. So I'm gonna go ahead and create some from scratch, make this car look right. We have nothing to work with, so I'm figuring it out as I go. Started with the sheet metal, it's gonna bolt up under the cab, and then I'll get my outside contour once this is all bolted up under there. There's really no science to this. I'm just giving this bar a slight curve. I don't want it to be overbent where it looks like a big bubble coming out of the side of the car. And I don't want it too straight where it looks flat. We got to get it the same curve almost to what the body has to it, so it looks like it fits that car perfectly. And that looks good. Now all I got to do is cut the ends off to match the contour of the fender. Damn, son. Now with the tubing laying on top of the panel, I marked me a line with the edge. What I'm gonna do is trim that panel off, and that bar will go underneath it. I got the top panel all clamped down to the sidebar. I'm gonna tack it all in place, flip it over, add some cross sections in there. So when this gets bolted up to the cap, the bolt's gonna go through these and the sheet metal to make everything stronger. All right, I got everything in place, tacked in. Now I'm gonna get this under there and that should fit in there nice and snug. Just right. Got a little bit more welding to do. We'll be good to go.
You know, there was nothing, absolutely nothing inside the coupe before we started. So John and his team are getting it done, some really badass custom door panels.
That's a big panel. I didn't think it was this big, so I tried to get it out of the car. I got everything mudded up in place, so all we gotta do now is just sit here and sand and sand and sand.
A lot of sanding.
Hey, at least we won't sand alone.
No, we got each other's.
Yes.
Gonna share the pain.
This next thing we'll do is just take some 36 grit, knock down all the high spots and everything. That way when we go to run our tools across it, we don't have to worry about our spreaders getting snagged up or anything.
Go work on the other panel while you get your shape in.
Okay. With the size and the quality of the builds we're doing, wow. And she brings a different set of skills I really thought we could use.
I actually started my professional model making career working as a subcontractor for NASA. So I was doing little plastic scale models and doing full-size module mock-ups to train astronauts. I have had a still model of mine in space.
Put a little cheese on it, and we mix. So as you can see, we've got everything molded together from the rear quarter all the way into the door panel. Everything's got good curves, lines, everything's molded out real nicely. We've got our details in it that we were after. So all this is done. All we have left to do now is get it wrapped up and get it in the car.
You know, the body was in bad shape, a lot of it way beyond repair. So Jamie and John are fabricating some of the last minute work.
Okay, so you can see that firewall's got way too many holes. It's old, it's nasty. Now it's time to put some new metal back in this thing. Okay, so I got pretty clean cuts on the old firewall. So I'm gonna use this as a template now. Pretty happy with that. Make quick work. Think you can bead roll these panels for me real quick?
I got you. I'm gonna get this transferred over to some sheet metal. Get bead rolled and get this firewall placed back in the coupe. I'm gonna go in here and lay out some designs, kind of mimic the front end of this coupe, how the grill slats are horizontally. Then I'm gonna do that same concept here on the firewall. So what I'm doing is I'm staggering the edge of what I'm gonna bead roll, so the top one's gonna be narrower and the next one down is gonna be a little wider. So they're not just all ending up and down in the same straight line. So they're gonna kind of grow as they go down, just like the way the grill does on the front of the car. All right, man, I think it'll look good. You can go ahead and bead roll this. Slow and steady and keeping your eyes on the line. That's the winning ticket. The cool thing about the custom car world is all this cool stuff we make here is done by hand, by eyesight, by the feel and touch. It's not a big old giant machine that's stamping out a piece of metal. This is tailored to that specific vehicle. That's custom, and that's what I love to do. Using the flat edge of this hammer, and I'm making all the corners pointy because you cannot get perfectly sharp corner with a round bead roll wheel. Now we got this all done, trimmed out. We're gonna take this handmade piece over to the coupe, get it tacked in place, and we'll have us a fresh custom firewall.
Northsider Ryan wants to surprise his dad with a custom 46 Ford with a one-of-a-kind design to match its classic look. And that's exactly the balance John's trying to hit with that center console.
Got a pretty cool idea for a design for the center console for the 46 Ford. I'm going to kind of try to mimic the hood a little bit at the front of the console. So we're going to just do a little stack fab. I'm going to first start with making my template. So what I'll do is I fold it in half. That way I can get a mirror image to the other side. That transfers the arch that I made on one side to the other so that both sides will be symmetrical. So now everything's drawn out. All I have to do is finish cutting it out and we got our template. Now that we got our template made, we're ready to rock. So now we'll just take this, transfer this into some MDF, start standing where it needs to be, and get it in the car. Just like that. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to do a layout here so that I can rough cut all my pieces. Grab my jigsaw, cut them out. Sit over to the router, stack them up, spread a little cheese. Okie dokie. Hey, Jen. You got some pieces?
I got some triangles. So these are coming from the transmission tunnel.
Yeah, just to give us our simulated angle that we're after here. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna take this piece of sign board and use that as a barrier between the two. So once it's all in place, we're gonna pack the inside edges with fiberglass. All right, everything's glassed up. Once it's dry, we can actually start carving on this. Once we get it all shaped out, then we can go back to the car and get it molded into the floor.
Part of never saying no is not saying no to my own crazy house. And the latest is the all-tube custom buggy that we're going to build from scratch. All we have now is 58-inch tires and military-grade axles. But we're also going to need a lot of power. What's up, fellas?
What's happening, man?
How you doing, man? Man, what do you got, man? I thought you were bringing me an engine.
Well, we did.
See, engine parts.
Exactly. We're gonna put it together here, man.
Cool, cool. Is it going to make some power?
1,500 horsepower and about 2,000 foot-pounds of torque, a little over that. This thing's gonna make some power.
That's what I want, because I'm building this, full tube chassis buggy, and I want something that it will get it.
So you're going to put a 1,500 horsepower Cummins in a tube chassis. How much is this thing going to weigh?
Probably 2,500 pounds, maybe.
So 2,500 pounds, 1,500 horsepower, 2,200 foot-pounds of torque. It's going to be a rocket.
That's exactly what I want.
You're gonna let me drive it, right?
There's so many things you have to do when you take an engine that runs 3,000 RPMs and take it to 6,000 RPMs to make it stay together. The factory valve spring doesn't have high RPMs. With the bigger cam that we're going to run in here, we got these right here. They have a lot more travel there. We can push it in farther, doesn't break the spring, or we can spin this thing to the moon, have an awesome time with it, make a lot of power.
So what we have here is the factory freeze plug. With all the power we're going to be pushing to it, it'll just blow these right out. It'll send them through the moon. These we thread into the head, so it actually screws in, so we can spin as much RPM and as much power we want to it.
Just get these last few done, and then we're going to start assembling the engine.
Yes, sir.
So in order to handle all the RPMs and the load, we're going to have to add these billet tappets in there. These tappets are, twice as strong as the factory cast tappet. With these in there and the billet cam, we'll be able to spin this thing as high as we want with no issues.
Got it? So the crank we're using right here is a factory 6.7 crank that has been polished and balanced. Spins really good. We're fixing to install the lower main cap bearings and main caps, torque it down, check everything, and then we'll start putting the front cover on and installing the cam.
All right, we got a custom spec cam here for our 6.8 liter Cummins.
So what you see here, the tappets we put in earlier, they ride on this right here and they go up and they go down. So with this cam here, it actually has a lot more lift on these, so you get more air in and out. That lowers cylinder pressures and able to spin more without a restriction in the cylinder. Now that we got our cam in, we're going to put our billet retainer on. What this does is, we have all these gears moving around in here. These things like to walk off the camshaft. So what this does, goes on here, has a bolt in there, and that keeps the cam gear from walking off the cam.
Such a little simple fix can keep you from
save you thousands of dollars, man. Like a lot of money. Dad's got the ring size to each cylinder. Dad's going to push this in the cylinder here with this ring compressor, and Clay's going to put the rod caps on. We're going to do that 6 times.
Now that we got the rotating assembly in, I always like to turn them over with a pry bar to make sure that we don't have anything binding up. Everything spins freely. This one does spin like butter.
I got it.
We ought to be able to turn 6,000 RPMs out of this, no problem.
Easy, easy, easy. Beautiful.
The Wells family did a great job building a lot of horsepower in the engine, about 1,500 horsepower. Man, I think we're going to put all this power in the back. You know, all the monster trucks have that stuff for the weight distribution. You know, they jump super good with all that weight, a little more equalized.
Okay, stay right there a minute.
Get that stand right there. Oh man, that's 1,500 horsepower, man. That's gonna be a lot for this buggy.
That's crazy. I've never had a diesel with any kind of power like that ever.
So torquey too, man.
Here I'm gonna get some calls of somebody wanting me to pull them out of the mud.
Man, if you don't get any calls, you didn't do it right.
We'll build stands for the engine, and then we'll figure out the wheelbase, and we'll be ready to start building. The all-tube custom buggy is a huge job, because all we got at this point is just a few parts. Everything else we need to make.
This thing has a ton of challenges, a ton of styling challenges.
What do you call it? The pre-motor mount?
Thing is heavy. It's a diesel. You know, you got your transmission and a transfer case in this thing. There's a lot of weight right here, so I want to make sure it's supported good.
And just making everything go together challenges.
You know, the next step on this is finding the wheelbase. There's no specific way to do that. There's no calculation, okay, for this buggy, you need this wheelbase. There's no such thing. Scoot the jack stand a little bit forward. Yeah. So you just kind of go by the feel. You got to picture in your mind how the suspension is going to look before it's even there. The front axle is in a pretty good spot. The back seat, there's plenty of room there. We got to take into consideration that the rear wheels are going to steer. Yeah. So we got to definitely make seat room for sure before you start making anything. You got to kind of visualize, okay, the 4-link bars are going to go here, steering shafts here, columns here, the gearbox needs to be over here.
That's almost where the steering wheel's at.
Yeah. And kind of reference all those years of building other cars, other trucks, and just kind of play it by ear. And we'll see what's about to happen.
I'm getting nervous, man. I'm definitely going to bring my hound.
Trying to get the last of the front suspension done on the 46 Ford so we can get it off to powder coat. You know, we got our first side of the suspension all mocked up, which, you know, has its difficulties. You know, you're working around the alternator, you're working around the header, you're trying to get the pivot points all 100% so the camber's all right, you got plenty of alignment. You know, that's the difficult part of all the suspension work that we do around here. Once everything's figured out on one side, the difficulty is making everything a mirror image of what's on the driver's side. You know, this is one of the most crucial parts of the whole suspension building process. It's pretty close. Level. It's true. Getting that part all lined up 100% true is huge for the suspension building process. So next step is just taking a ton more measurements, and then we can do the bag mount, shock mount. That's a wrap. Did a great job on the 46 Ford. So we're ready to move it over to paint. And of course, Blue Thunder, it has to be blue. We got a ton of colors to pick from. There's a lot of blues. You know, there's a lot of pressure on me to pick the right color, not just to make the customer happy, but I want to pick the right color in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now. That color still looks good on that car. You paint it a dark blue, it's going to date it. It's going to look like it was built back in the 80s, 90s, when everything was dark blue. The way the body is shaped, you know, I think a lighter color with a metallic is really going to set off the lines and the curves of the car. You know, I'm thinking something like this is really going to go good on the body style of that car.
That definitely is going to be a cool color. We already put two of these bottles in there, and we still got to put more. I never seen a color take that much pro in it. They're probably going to give a flop, you know, when the sun hits it.
Well, I started painting cars when I was like 12. Then when I was in high school, I used to paint my friends' cars. I didn't know what I was doing, but then I went to school for it, learned how to do it the right way, and it went on from there. The car has a lot of curves, so it's really going to make this Pro stand out a lot. Painting the car, giving that cool color is what gives the car that life, gives the attitude to the car. Right, good thunder is back.
We finished the frame on the 46 Ford and sent it off to powder coat. It came back in a white base, and Juan and the team color matched it blue. Now we can get that late model Coyote engine on the frame. You know, it's been a long time coming. I'm really excited. It's been a lot of work for everybody on the whole team to get to this point right here. And I can't wait to give this to Brian. He's going to be just blown away. Seeing a big build like this come together, you know, as usual, my guys are just putting it all on the line. Because if we take a job like this in, we're going to get it done, and we're going to get it done right. That's just what this business is built upon, is not saying no, taking in those jobs that nobody else wants to do because they're too big or too complicated. Cena.
I mean, are you sure? Because really no one can see me.
You know, John, when your car came in, I was talking with the record driver, and he said it was John Cena's, and I was like, man, you know, I assumed such a small car was, you know, for a smaller John Cena somewhere else in the world, not the John Cena.
It's me, man, and I pride myself on the unexpected and the unpredictable, and there's a lot about me that people don't know from just what they've seen, and this is certainly an example.
You know, we never had an MG in the shop before, so I'm kind of interested in what do you want to do to this thing?
I love the old British cars because they're small. I love the look of like the gauges on the dash and just the old racy type of feel that the cars have. And I bought it because it was kind of rare, but the only thing that was rare about it is the V6, and the V6 is kind of a dog anyway. So you guys not only do rare, you do like one of one.
That's it.
So I wanted to take a car that's relatively affordable and do something absolutely crazy with it.
No pressure there, right?
Yeah. You guys kill it on stance, and you guys kill it on body and paint, but I want to put some power in this thing too. So I want to lower it. I want to make it a wide body, like a GT3.
Race inspired for that car, and I definitely dig that.
I want to keep that British feel on the interior, but I also want to make it racy. I've fallen in love with like the Gulf paint jobs, so I was even thinking like a French racing blue with orange and black pinstriping. And also, it's currently a 4-seat, and you know that if we do all these mods, nobody's going to ride in the back. So do whatever you want with the rear hatch. It is like a hatchback, so you guys can have some fun with the extra real estate in there and do whatever you want. I've been obsessing over this car only because I know what you guys are capable of. I have very, very high hopes, and I know it's going to take a lot of man hours because it's going to be a lot of fab, and I don't know what's underneath.
I don't get surprised anymore once we start tearing cars apart. There's always hidden parts and pieces all throughout.
I have no doubt, and there's also another reason why I say you personally an MG. I know you do a lot of one-offs, but this car is going to be under a microscope. Enthusiasts are going to look at this car, and this will absolutely be something that the shop can hang its hat on. So I really kind of wanted to put you guys to the test.
Not only is this built for the John Cena, but the MG community, the MG world is going to take notice of this. You know, the stakes definitely couldn't be higher, but I'm ready for it. My team's ready for it. You're going to get in this car, put your butt in the seat, and go through the gears.
Parking something that should be driven. When it's parked, I will look at it as a piece of art, but I also want to be able to get in, drive, have fun, put some miles on the odometer for sure.
Man, that's what I like to hear.
The car is an automatic. I would love it to be a 3-pedal car because there's nothing like driving with a manual, especially like an old British car.
Right.
And also, if you can pull off the GT3 sort of wide body design, I would love to do something funky with the doors. Either like McLaren style or Gullwing style or even Aston Martin style where they kind of go out.
Hold up, you just want to get in that car easier.
Maybe. Maybe I do. And maybe like a hydraulic jack to set me down inside it. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm really excited about
about this. Of course, I always say that, but, you know, I haven't worked on an MG before, and I can't wait to get the creative juices flowing.
This is not by accident. I really admire your work, and man, the look on people's faces when they see the projects that are done. I'm really hoping that I can share that look with you in person when the car is all done.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you very much, and I'm excited. We're going to make you something really, really cool.
I cannot wait. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you guys do the car.
John Cena.
That was John Cena.
You know, when it comes to customizing anything, you know, trucks are my deal. You know, American cars are my deal. You know, when it comes to an MG, we never had one in the shop. I've never put my hands on one, and making an extensive style fit an MG is going to be challenging, but I'm definitely up for that challenge. You know, there's a whole community that just lives and breathes these cars. So there's going to be all eyes on this car when we're done. I mean, that's a whole nother level of exposure, and people are just going to be going through it with the fine-tooth comb just to see what we did and what we modified. Once I pull this thing in the shop, you know, the guys are once again going to think I'm crazy, you know, bringing an MG into the shop. And, you know, once they know this is John Cena's car and what all we're doing to it, they're going to be just as excited as I am. What up, Jimmy?
It's probably the first time I've ever lifted the hood on it. Why is it in the shop?
Because when you get a call from the John Cena saying he wants extensive to build him an MG, it shows up at the shop.
That's nuts.
Isn't that pretty cool?
That's real cool. I just think he'd fit in this thing.
Right? He wants to drive this car. Like, take it on the track, drive the hell out of it.
I would have never pictured one of these for like a road course car, but how small it is, you put enough power, it might be a lot of fun on a track.
That was going to be fun. The 69 MGC was known for its straight six, but we're going to give it a lot more power. You know, I don't know what kind of power we're going to put under the hood yet. We're going to rip all that out and just start fresh. New engine, new trans, nice suspension under it, coilovers, front and rear, big brakes in the fender well, good sized tire, new paint, of course, new everything. You know, as far as the interior, just totally reimagine what's in there. You know, some nice seats and just reconfiguring gauges, just make it look really, really cool. Just something that he can get in and go, damn, this is badass, and want to drive this everywhere he goes.
Man, that's a privilege. He could choose anybody to do it, and he chose the shop on Sunny Drive.
Right. See, that's why we get him to come to work every day, right?
You never know who or what's going to walk through that door.
So we got to order a lot of parts. You know, as pumped up as we are to get John Cena's car on the lift, you know, it's pretty much a game of bays around here. We got to get the 46 Ford out of the bay to make some room for it. I love seeing the rolling chassis come together. You know, it's all the work that nobody really gets to see, but in this stage.
So the car may look like a 46 Ford, but underneath, under the hood, it's a brand new car. So what we did is we put a Coyote in this thing, but with that comes a lot of technology, computers, wires, sensors. So now we have to put a whole new harness in this car, hide wires. It's a lot of work, but you'll be able to take this car anywhere you want to go.
I asked for a helper today. All this guy wants to do is take naps on me. So we're running this aluminum line from the air manifold all the way to the airbag. We use aluminum because it'll virtually last forever and it looks a lot better than your typical plastic or copper. We got a lot of bending to do and a lot of clearances to make sure we make. We do not want this interfering with anything else on this chassis, and we want it to flow with the frame rail as well. Whenever you make a mark, there's a certain spot you need on that line. Don't come with no instruction manual, so it's all about figuring it out. And if you don't do it right, your lines ain't gonna look right. When your lines don't look right, it makes this beautiful chassis look like crap.
A build like
this takes way more than a typical 9-to-5 day to finish. It's months of early mornings and lots of late nights. You know, that's especially true as we get to the end.
Ryan and his dad need their car back, and we want to see his chassis complete. So we're going to bolt the wheels on. We're going to roll it over there.
Or you want to get it right here? With one fork.
You know, this is a huge milestone for us. This started out as some rectangle tubing and some pipe. Now it's a full chassis fixing underneath the car.
Yeah, go for it.
Firewall good?
Right now it is.
Man, it's cool when it always comes together. Get a little bit of bling on it, make everything come out, man. I think he's going to be real happy. What do you think?
Hats off to the paint and body guys, man. I know they put a lot of work into this thing.
Everybody's worked all night, couple nights, trying to get this thing ready. So we got a long day tomorrow, so let's go home and get some sleep.
Yeah, recharge the batteries.
My guys at the shop killed it once, twice, 100 more times. It's unbelievable. Headlights, chrome bumper. John had a lot of work to do in this interior, and obviously he came with it.
So one of the last things I have left to wrap is going to be the center console. So I'm going to have to sew a seam into it so I can wrap it as one piece.
Real men sew.
Yes, they do. You know, it's been a long road. Ryan's a great guy, taking care of his dad like this, just giving him something special. Brian has no idea what's about to happen. He's going to be really happy in about 5 minutes.
Hi, Cleve.
From the time I was 5, 6 years old, my mother, she wanted to be the neighborhood mom. Everybody came to our house, and she treated all my friends as mom.
What about sweets?
All right.
So when I started here, she quickly became Mama D, the shop mom.
Hi, would you like a donut?
I would, thank you.
If we're working late, she would come by and just like bring us drinks or bring us something to eat or whatever, and just being a mom.
Hi, sweetheart.
So everybody around here, when she walks in, they're like, Mama D, mom.
Thank you very much. You're quite welcome. Love you. Have a great weekend. Hi, guys.
Hi.
We want some donuts? Having Tim working here at Extensive, I feel like I have numerous kids now.
Not our heroes, we're Cape.
They're just awesome people. You're welcome. It's great.
You know, today is Surprise Day. So we're at RPM's new location, and they happen to be celebrating 40 years in business today. So I brought the crew out to get Brian back Old Blue Thunder. Man, I love the new property, man. You got way more space here, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I got a little surprise for Brian. We stashed Blue Thunder in the back of his lot, so I'm going to ask him to kind of show me around, and we just might happen to stumble across his car. So I thought I had a lot of projects. They go on and on and on and on.
Holy, looky there.
Here's your 46.
That can't be mine.
Hey. Hey, 40 years in business. Your son here stole your car from you, basically. Told you a fib that it was at another body shop, and we've been working on it.
I knew I should have come down.
Congratulations, you deserve it.
I didn't even think about it out there. I would have never in my imagination ever thought that was mine.
What do you think,
Woo!
Brian?
Beautiful. Damn.
It doesn't look like the same car, does it?
Not at all.
You got a hell of a son.
Yeah, I do. And he's got some great friends.
You know, when Brian came around the corner and seen his car, you know, he got a little choked up. He was just overwhelmed, which I would be myself. Getting a gift like that, that's truly extraordinary. I mean, this is a good day for Brian, and something just never expected. Brian, you know what we started with. I mean, it was pretty much a whole, you know, it was a ton of work to go from where it was to where it is now, obviously. So what we did, we got your car in, totally took it apart, blasted it, and uncovered a lot of work. But as you can see, we've handmade everything. I mean, every bit of the frame itself is all handmade. Of course, we had to do air suspension on it to get it all the way on the ground like this with big billet wheels. You see the bodywork on this. I mean, the fenders all been molded together, the grills molded to the fenders, handmade running boards. welded the fenders to the body, and it's all just streamlined, super, super smooth. And of course, we had to top that off because the car was Blue Thunder, right? So Thunder, right?
I agree. When I saw the color, I thought it was really great. Of course, when I was trying to pick out colors for it, it was going to be a lot darker, but man, that is perfect.
Let's check out under the hood.
Okay. Come on. Holy Toledo! Look at that!
Look at there.
Oh, man.
Late model 5.0 Coyote.
Wow.
6-speed transmission. You know, you don't need any more power than this.
No, I don't.
Right? Woo. All new firewall, all the way to the floor, all the way to the rear roll pan.
This is totally awesome. When you lifted up that hood and I saw that motor, I was just dumbfounded. It was amazing. Because I had this motor at home I've been trying to put together to go in that car. Nothing compared to what I got in that car. Unbelievable.
We got a few other things to show you. Check this out.
Oh, man. Look at this. That is really cool.
What do you think, Brian? It's a little different from sheet metal in it, right?
Unbelievable.
It's a little bit more comfortable ride than what you know before, right?
Yeah.
You know, John in the interior shop they definitely showed their skills on this, right? Everything is, you know, hand sculpted and molded to the car. You know, the 4 bucket seats in it. You know, the console, new dash, new column, new everything.
A whole lot more than I ever anticipated. Never even thought about it being like this at all.
Ryan said, build his dad something cool. So
it's cool. No doubt about that.
Hey, Brian, we got one more surprise for you. Just to top all this off, I think you're really going to be impressed a little more.
A little more. Let's go.
Whoa, look at there.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
You know, it looks like you'd want to pull your suitcase out here, right? You know, John made you a matching suitcase to tie in all the interior, right? But it's a sub box, so the speaker is actually in that box that looks like luggage. That's pretty cool,
huh? Crazy, yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, I've never seen a speaker box look like that.
Where'd that idea even come from?
Right.
You see the luggage in the old 40s era and stuff and the older stuff, but to pull that out your mind and do that,
it's crazy.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. What everybody did for me and what my son had done to the car and what Bill did to it is just amazing, and I just can't believe that really happened. I thank you, son, and I love you.
Love you.
Good job, man.
No, you good job.
Thanks.
You know, I always say, I can't do this myself. You know, this is one more example of just my team getting down, doing what they do, building cool stuff like they do. And they proved it this time. Brian, giving him something really, really cool. That just goes to show you that Brian's a good dude doing good things in the community and for his family. We're going to probably tack a piece of tubing here to there.
Okay.
Jamie and I are mocking up the first metal work, which would be an all-terrain, all-metal, all-tube custom buggy. The overall feel of the whole project is going to start taking shape once we get these clamped in. You can kind of step back and kind of see how everything looks, you know.
All right, where's my helmet?
Is it comfy?
Helmet room? Hell no.
Hey, this ain't made to be comfortable. This project is such a reminder of how extensive was started. Starting with nothing and building piece by piece by piece by piece by piece by piece. And here we are. I never would have dreamed I'd be where I'm at right now. Never. It was never a dream come true because I never dreamed that. I just feel totally blessed to be in the position I am, to keep building the business. You know, we got celebrities driving down Sunny Drive to see what's going on at Extensive. It's basically a 4-seater monster truck. Monster buggy.
Monster.
Just really make you start thinking where everything started to where it's. I want to see you actually sit in the car, see how much room we got to work with.
Once you get in, it's kind of okay. This should change the whole look of that car.
We're going to be putting LS in this thing. Is this possible? I'm not sure yet.
2020 Denali 2500. This big truck isn't big enough. I have free reign to do whatever we want to do.
Whatever you want.
And it's going to be a surprise to this guy's wife.
I'll let my wife hear this.
Man, that's awesome.
That is so cool.
I'm Bill Carlton.
I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal. Man, you're just wishing one day you can get to that point where you can build the way you want to build, because the owners trust you to make it perfect. We're reaching that point now as a business. You know, that comes with a whole lot of pressure to get it right. Case in point, John Cena's 69 MGC. Here's a massive celebrity giving me free reign to make it cool.
Hello.
Pleasure to meet you, man. Finally in person.
Very, very nice to meet
you. It's so good to be here. I can't tell you how happy I am and excited I am. This is awesome.
I'm really excited for you to come in, too. I mean, I know Val is.
Pleasure to meet you, Val. I'm John.
Likewise.
John shipped his MG to us, but we never met in person. This would be the first MG I've ever worked on. One of the things that stood out right away is its size. After looking at the car, seeing how small this MG is, and just seeing John Cena, he just looks humongous. MG, it's a small car.
It is.
I'm really concerned about you being uncomfortable in this.
Is this the large guy, small car?
There's a little something to
okay, you danced around that pretty good, but yeah, all right, well, let's address the elephant in the room, literally. I'm not fit for an MG, so how do we do that?
See how you fit, to see how much room we got to work with.
Okay, so this is actually really like not only a custom build for my taste, but a custom build for my size.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely in. I'll have a bespoke car, custom tailored to me. That sounds awesome. Shall we see this thing?
Let's go check it out.
All right, excellent. Man, it's so good to meet you. There it is, in a state of despair. Walking in and seeing the MG in the bay, it's bittersweet. Man, it's such a beautiful car and has so much potential, but it's in a sad state. So it's bittersweet, but I'm excited to see what it can be.
Is this your first time laying eyes on it?
So I bought it online, and it was like, oh man, this is too good to be true. And then the place that received it was like, you got to come down and see it because it was too good to be true. And I was so disappointed. I can't wait to see what it can be. I can't wait to see what you can do with it, man.
You know, when we first talked this through, he told me he wanted a car he could drive fast and have a lot more power. We're swapping out the inline 6-cylinder with a built 6.2 LS. Giving him a custom modified chassis with brand new suspension, wheels, tires, and a wide body kit to give it that racing look. Paint and handmade interior. This isn't your only British car.
No, I have a TC, but all of them are so effing small. Like even this is supposed to be a roomy coupe with a back seat. It's still really small.
You know, the main thing I wanted you to come in for is actually sit in the car to see how much we're working with. You know, I want to know how much room is in the footwell. I want to know, you know, how much, if we got to scoot the seat back or what.
Yeah. So because of the way the wheel sits, this is usually always my entrance. All right. Once you get in, it's kind of okay.
So, once you're in,
making the in easier.
Oh, definitely.
Like this is always a problem.
One of the things, right off the bat, we can add a tilt wheel to it, flip it up, and
bingo,
and give you a lot
or at least
more room.
Some adjustable column in some sort of way.
Maybe scooting the seat down a little bit.
Yeah.
Scooting it back a little bit.
Why not?
You got about this much headroom now. You get a little bump and...
Yeah, the saggy headliner doesn't help at all.
Scooting the firewall back is not an option. We got to move the seat back. Let John get his big-ass legs in there. I think his legs are bigger than my chest. What do you think about maybe even a six-pack?
I think we're sharing a brain here. I'm literally already one hand on the gear stick, so I would love a clutch and a manual shift.
In the transmission tunnel, if it had to come out an inch to add a pedal, are you cool with that?
I am.
All right.
I am. I have to do it. I never want to tell an artist how to paint, but I need you to keep this. I know this car is going to look so different when it's done, but but this is like undeniably MG. And whatever you put in for a shifter, this has to be the top of the gear knob.
You got it.
I got my heart set on so much of this, but you're the artist, and I'm going to let you do your thing. So I will remove myself from your office. Excellent.
But you want to go check out the shop?
Heck yeah, I do. Let's go.
You know, I'm kind of anxious to see the world's take on how extensive does MG. You know, we're totally up for the challenge, and we're definitely going to surprise a lot of people on this one.
What's happening, man?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, man, good. Bill,
nice to meet you, Chris Staff.
what you doing here today, man? It's a good-looking truck.
Well, this is my wife's truck.
This is your wife's?
Yeah, man.
And that's a cool truck for your wife to be driving around in.
No doubt.
Man.
Daily driver, too. Takes the kids to school, grocery shopping, you know, the routine. I put in lift and wheels and tires for her, and she's not quite satisfied with them. And
what?
I decided, let's go bigger with it.
That's not big enough for her.
No, I don't think so.
Man, when a big truck rolls in the parking lot, I always get excited. But when the customer wants this big truck to be even bigger, I get really excited.
She's super into lifted trucks, man, and I think she kind of likes it when she's at the gas station and the guy next to her is asking her about her truck.
And she's in a way cooler truck than him.
No doubt. And I can't wait to see her expression when she sees what you've created for her.
So this is a surprise for her?
Yeah, she thinks it's in the shop for a little bit of maintenance. So.
Man, I love it. What better gift to give your wife than a cool car, right? You know, obviously.
No doubt, man. And you know, you did it up on that, and your wife was happy, and I know that we're going to do the same thing here.
A car guy wanted to give his wife a gift. You know, I can totally relate. He wants his wife to have the biggest and the best. That's what we're doing. So I have free rein, big wheels, big tires, big axles, and just go crazy with the air suspension lift so she can totally adjust where she wants to ride out.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Make it even bigger.
Yeah, man, you're talking my language.
Because this truck's going to be so huge, we got to put some retractable steps. It's got wife, kids, we got to make them comfortable. The black plastics around the wheel openings, color match that to really make it not only big, but have that classiness to it also.
Nice. I like it.
And of course, color match everything underneath too. We'll make you something real cool.
Awesome.
Most people, when they hear there's a lifted truck, we're going to make higher, get it in, change the springs out, add a little lift to it, put a little bit bigger wheel and tire, definitely not going to do that. Anywhere else in the world, this is top of the line. You can't get better than this. 2500 truck, it's already big, it's already lifted, it's huge, but we're in Texas. Dealerships customizing like this here in Texas, so we're going to take this, attack it, and make Chris a totally unique, totally custom truck. Nice truck. It is, right? 2020 Denali 2500. Already got a lift, big wheels and tires on it. It's a cool truck. So why is it here? This big truck isn't big enough. He wants it way bigger. And it's going to be a surprise for this guy's wife.
Don't let my wife hear this.
Can you imagine being the neighbor and the wife's talk and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you got her a truck. I got you some flowers.
It's going to ruin the whole neighborhood.
So you say a lot bigger. It's like, what are you thinking?
Put it on the lift and cut everything out. Slick frame rails, front to back. No hangers, no nothing. Independent front suspension. Doesn't look as impressive as a straight axle in the front. So we're going to put a straight axle, front and rear, matching axles with air suspension on it too. Give her that adjustability, that good ride, our signature 2 bends all throughout. Big wheels, big tires, at least 42s on it. And just that big, mean, massive look.
How tall is she?
Well, I don't know. She might need a ladder, but, you know, getting rid of the old Nerf bars, paint the frame, color match all the black plastics and everything, and a ton of underlight. The poor guys that are going to put now, they're going to feel bad after this one.
And now we have this thing up in the air. So I'm going to now strip all this stuff down, put it on a couple pallets. It already has a lift kit on it, so we'll put this lift kit back on the pallet, give it back to the owner. If he wants to sell it, give it to somebody else or whatever, that's up to him.
That's all I needed. I got the drive shaft removed. Now to remove the shocks. When I get it done with all that, I'm gonna disconnect the U-bolts and this whole rear end's gonna drop down with the wheels on it so we can roll it out here.
As far as geometry, we're not going to use none of this stuff. The hangers, the bump stops, we want a completely clean slate. So we're going to come through, torch all that off, grind it back down, and from here to here it'll be completely fresh. It'll allow us to put our pipes wherever we want, however we want to build it, we can build it.
Finding parts these days has been a nightmare. But as fabricators, you don't have to wait to get what you need. You got to make what you need.
We took everything off that truck that was stock, so we need some straight axles to put underneath it. So you don't want to PS while it'll be messed up. So for that, we're just going to change it all over to Power Stroke axles. We have this donor 250 frame laying around. We'll simply drop these out, clean these axles up, and then we'll start fresh with our own brackets ready for the 4-lane. What we want to do is make sure the front axle and the back axle are identical. So I can take this laser, jack this up to where the top hits the laser. Then we know this one and that one are perfectly parallel and they're both level. This gives us a great foundation to build everything off of.
We got our axles in place, got the truck where it needs to be. Next thing is making the drop down itself. We're gonna make a plate that'll bolt to the frame, tie everything together, and we'll have a spot to make our 4-link bolt to the truck. You see the general idea where the 4-link bars are gonna be, where they're gonna hit on our plate once we burn it out. From the bottom of the frame. So the only thing I need to really establish now is just a kind of a flowing design. You know, I do this with the chipboard so you can kind of see exactly what the finished part is going to look like.
That's me.
Check it out, man. Burn it out a 1/4 inch. All right, it's going to be a lot longer 4-link, you know, than other ones we built in the past. So that's why these are so close together. I think it's going to look real cool.
All I'm doing here is just laying out my measurements and bring them back onto my computer and just cut it out right on the plasma table. I will be cutting 2 of them. They're both going to be for the outside. Then I'm going to do another 2 for the inside. This will perfectly match the template. So now that I know it's perfect, I'm going to cut out 1 more. Punch my hose off the template. Clean it up and then take it over to the guys into their shop.
Hear that, son? Bill designed the drop-down bracket. Jesse's already burned it all out. Now all I gotta do is put it up here on the frame, and it'll go together like a puzzle. Since we know the truck's level, we know this is where we want it, we're gonna level side to side. So we know this bracket and this bracket are perfectly level. So we build all the bars the same, everything comes out identical. And that's a hammer in my ear. Throwing it out just so we know it won't move at all. We're just going to put a tack on each end, then we'll go through. What's for the suspension, we don't want any wiggle room. What I'm going to do now is drill all the holes on the outside, bolt it 100% tight. I'll drill all the holes from the bottom, and I'll bolt them 100% tight before we tack anything. And then when everything is super tight, then we'll weld this so we know it stays exactly how it should.
Body kit for the 69 MGC has arrived. It's going to change the shape of the car for a meaner, racier look. Max is getting it unloaded into the shop.
Oh, very cool.
So full body kit, 2 front fenders. We got
inner arches. There's a giant front spoiler there as well. They call it the Sebring body kit, which is kind of at the rounded. They've got nice flares on here. Originally designed off the factory race cars of the late 60s that ran at Sebring.
This should change the whole look of that car.
You're going to cut up a perfectly good MGC.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I know there's not a lot of them. I mean, maybe...
About 9,000, mate.
9,000. We'll leave 8,999 to the purists, and we'll make this one a 101. We almost have a whole MG right there.
Yeah.
Before we get this car all tore down, I asked Tim to get Juan and Edgar to install the body kit. You know, first things first.
This is John Cena's car. And there's not a lot you can do to these cars, but he wanted a wide body kit. Because right now it looks kind of weak, kind of skinny. But if we do a wide body kit, it's going to come out a couple more inches on each fender. And then that also allows us to move the wheels out a couple inches on each fender too. That's why we need y'all to do the wide body kit first. That lets us know where to put the front wheels and how wide we can make the wheels in the back that'll fit underneath there. And then we know how far out we can move all of our travels. We can move the wheels. We can order all that stuff. First and foremost, we're going to take all the side trim off, the blinkers off, all that off. Don't throw it away. Put it in a box. We're going to keep it till we know what we're going to use or not. You don't know until we're done.
So I had to take the glass out to get to this molding right here. The white body is going to sit on top of this quarter panel, and this mold is going to be on our way. So yes, we got to do whatever we got to do. Now that we have everything apart, it's time to put our first piece of the wide body kit. See how it fits. It's going to look pretty cool.
Yeah, this is going to be the inner fender wheel that's going to go inside. Start cutting, pretty much follow my outline. First piece coming off. I got to get in here, cut this whole entire tub all the way, make it nice and smooth, and make ourselves a new one. Way much more space. From here to the inside, it fits pretty good. Once I put the tub in, then I'll put the quarter in. And we should see what the end result after that.
We're getting ready to put the front bumper on, but in order to do that, we're gonna have to cut our support right here, make our bumper fit. So a lot of people think buying a body kit, try to throw it on the car and everything fits perfect. But it's not that way. It was built for a car like this, but it was made in the mold, so stuff shrinks and expands, so it's not gonna fit 100%. That's why we body made it. We're gonna put it on there, try to get it as best as we can, and then we're gonna body work it and make it all perfect.
So we're finished installing the body kit and all the body work. And Jamie's tearing out the old inline 6.
There's a lot going on in this little engine bay.
Even back in the 60s, British cars were notorious for squeezing a lot of technology in small spaces. But all that's got to go to make room for that new built LS.
Well, it's the first time looking underneath this car. There's a lot going on. I'm just taking it in right now. So what I'm seeing so far is everything's really compact. It's such a small little car. We're going to be putting LS in this thing. I mean, is this possible? I'm not sure yet. So I'm going to start by just cutting the exhaust off right here. It's definitely not going to work for what we're doing. There we go. So I can get this cross member right here. Get the drive shaft off. Get the cross member loose. So all I need to do is get these motor mounts way up yonder so I can lift the motor out. Sounds easy, right? Okay, so I got the transmission mount out, got the motor mounts cut loose. I'm pretty much ready to start pulling this motor. So I'm gonna go ahead and take everything I need off from the top side so I can get to the motor nice and easy. This is going to nothing. That's hooked up to linkage. That makes no sense. I can definitely see why people hate working on British engines. There's so much going on right here that's just kind of overwhelming. So this is going inside the car. don't want to cut the... I'm not afraid to do any of this kind of stuff. This right here has made me kind of second guess everything, and I know we're just pulling it out, but I'm just a little, you know, standoffish.
What do you think, Jamie? First shot, nothing messed up, goes right out.
Not a chance. Let's see what happens. Something's stuck. We're gonna have to pull it out like that. Maybe if I put a ratchet strap around the front of it and tilt it. Pick it up a little bit. Back up if you can. Stop. I don't know how much more I can go on this strap. Come up. Up, 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 up. Come on. Got it? Yeah. We got it. Cricket wanna come out.
So we finished the drop-down brackets, got all the 4-link sets for the 2020 Denali. Now Tim's gonna start making the bag mounts.
I needed a start for my bags. We put this piece of tubing up here and clamped it, so you know that both these surfaces are flat. That gives me what I need to start making the tubing to secure this. Like my nose ring. I'll put one up there. I'll mark the bottom where I want it. I'll cut that, and I'll use that one as a template to make the back 4. How's that look in the front? You twist one way or another?
Looks pretty good, I think. Now see if this one fits. Putting these little vertical uprights may look easy, but trying to get them lined up, a little tight. All visual. We want to get all these pipes lined up the same way across side to side. That way everything looks symmetrical. Looks pretty good.
Put all the structure in for the lower bag mounts, and now we'll start building the pipes to support this from the frame. You know, it's kind of an extensive signature look. We always take a rolled tubing and roll it from the frame to the bag mount, and from the bag mount to the axle. One of the good things about this project for me is I can relate to this. I can understand what this guy wants for his wife. She wants to have one of the big lifted trucks. And not only that, wanting a one-off custom truck, not something you bought on the shelf. I've had the same bug bite me. You want it a little bigger, you want something a little different, and then you also want to pull up and everybody's like, damn, who did that? And that's why I want to take my time and give them what they expect.
I'm not a fan of the black trim on this Denali, so Juan's going to color match it white to match the rest of the truck.
So we're going to take all these gaskets, going to take them off, sand them, prime them, and paint them the same color as the truck.
Alright, so we're about to color match those pieces for the Denali. You know, a lot of people think, oh, well, you know, it's white. So you have, like, a lot of variances to white. That's, like, the hardest color to match. Like this truck right here, it's just solid white, but it has black in it, blue, green, yellow. All this stuff makes a difference in your color. So our next color is oxidized red, but it looks orange. It takes a little bit of it too, it's like a drop. Alright, so if I did my job right, once we put these pieces on the car, it should blend right in.
You know, the bag mounts and tubings all in place on the Denali 2500.
Are you going to split that?
That, I have to, because then I can move it back the length of the pipe.
Now I got Tim and John adding all the pipe work to give us some style and that strength.
What we're going to get into now, bag mount to bag mount, and they're going to attach in the center. The same thing down here. And the whole reason for doing that is just to give these bag mounts some support. Since they're so low from the frame, we got to support those to keep them from moving around. We're going to do that same exact thing down here on the axle. We got to keep these bags supported, and off of that, we're going to build our panhard bar. That's how it happened. Ain't trim that side, should go in.
Now you can see how the top one's going to look. We're going to put a bar here and another bar in the back, and we'll support it off this bar that John put in, and then we'll figure out our panhard bar. This side looks good.
Check that it?
Right there?
Yeah.
Bueno, I'll let you tack it since you have a hood on.
Look good right there. We got these two bars tacked in place, connected to our bag mounts. Now we know for sure there's going to be no left and right movement on these because they're locked into place with this brace.
You know, 69 British car isn't known for good handling, good brakes. You know, we're going to fix that. The MGC is what you call a unibody, where the frame and body are all one piece. We reinforced the frame rails on one piece and just welded it all the way down and around. It's really, really strong now. Can you hold a level on?
Needs to go that way about an 8.
Then we're going to connect it down to the new cross member. Then it'll be one solid frame rail.
Pretty close, man. Like it's all on.
Cool. And that looks pretty damn good. Tacked a piece of flat bar to it from the top of the DOM up to here.
Okay.
With all the torque we're adding to this vehicle, we're going to have to add a lot of strength and rigidity. So we're measuring and cutting flat bar, then we'll attach it to the cross member. Cut one off this one and one off the other one, so we got this. We're just going to start boxing it all in. Before long, it'll all be one piece. You know, jobs like this take a long time. But you got to be precise because all the weight of the car is going to rest on it.
All right, so I got the cross member all welded in. Everything's intact. Really strong now. So next thing is go ahead and let the car down. Get the engine in here. Man. One way or another, I guess we'll get it in there.
Think it'll start?
Nope. No way. Well, bet 20 on it. Oh, you lost that $20.
Why didn't we put jump cables on here a long time ago? So we don't have the built LS for John Cena's 69 MGC yet. So me and Jamie are going to use a mock-up engine to make sure everything fits.
Come on in. Stay up right there. Stay up.
We'll get the mock-up engine and trans down in it.
All right, go in.
We'll build our motor mounts, build our transmission mount. You know, if it all goes as planned, which it rarely does, don't manhandle it so much. I mean, be easy with it, you know what I mean? When the new power plant gets here, it'll drop right in.
Yeah. There it is. All right, that's on it.
Okay. And that actually fits in there pretty good, huh?
Not gonna say no.
It's not mounted.
I know better.
Man, we're gonna have some pissed off MG people at us, right?
Man, that's okay. We're gonna make it way better than it ever was with all this torque and the suspension.
I mean, that's why you have a sports car, for power and performance.
Definitely.
That's exactly what we got now.
So John Cena came in, him and Bill talked. Bill took some measurements, so now we need to get that seat back a little further. I've got an idea where the seat was already before because they're just right to the floorboard, but I have an issue right here. I don't want it, just drilled to the floorboard, so I'm going to go ahead and section out this piece of the floor, move it back 2 inches, and then go ahead and fill in so it's going to look factory. It's going to look like it should have been that way, and it's going to give John that extra space that he's asking for. So I got all three of my holes marked 2 inches back. Next thing is go ahead and just cut this piece out. Make a little line here. Cut it one more time. Start forming my metal to fill in the gap. Moving the seat back a couple inches doesn't seem like much, but with the guy as big as John Cena, every inch counts in this little car. So I get back in the car. Alright, so I'm happy with the placement. Looks like it should have been there from factory. So now I'm going to go ahead and put our piece we just made in. Okay, so this is our driver's side. We're going to use this drop as the passenger side. Make some little guide marks right here so I can cut the piece to fit perfectly. When you're welding like this, you don't ever want to overlap, so you want to make sure it's in there nice and tight. So I'm going to try to just kind of deck it down some, just try to refine the shape. It kind of blends it all in. I'm going to go ahead and use a step bit. Drill these down. That's going to be our new position for the seat. So this is going to give John a little bit extra room he actually needs.
Man, we got a hell of a start.
Yes,
right?
Definitely.
You know, when this car came in, I think everybody was shaking their heads.
I didn't know what we were going to do with this thing.
MG?
Yeah.
John Cena? No way. You know, you see now, everybody's getting excited, right? We've got many hours in it. In all reality, a 69 MG doesn't look like this from the factory.
No, man, that's nice vibe down here. This motor, I'm starting to really get the visual of the car, man. It's really starting to come together. I can see the finished product.
Starting to see it, see how cool it's gonna be now. That 6.2 looks at home in here now, right?
Yeah.
With the manual 6-speed transmission, this car is gonna be fun to drive.
Man, I can't wait to ride this thing.
We got a huge head start, but we got a long way to go. Everything we've done, we got to rip all back out and build the suspension, front and rear. You know, new column, new everything in here.
The bad thing about it being a little car is not a lot of space for all this stuff, so it's going to take a little bit of time trying to figure everything out.
Absolutely. You know, it's our first MG, but I think once people see this, it ain't going to be our last.
The lifted 2020 Denali is going to be completely over the top. The customer wants to surprise his wife with this huge truck that can also go anywhere. So we're adding huge off-road shocks to the suspension.
Timmy did a nice job doing all the tube work for the upper bag mount. He left one piece off for us so we could install the racing shock, which we just got in. So we're going to start off doing the bottom mount, put it in place so we can make the top mount. And after we got that racing shock in place, we can continue where Timmy left off. Lower mount. We're gonna get this tacked in right about here. When lining up these shocks, you just want to make sure you're going to clear your airbag, which is about 12 inches diameter. You want to make sure your caliper clears it. You want to make sure everything clears the shock body and all these compression and rebound tubes. That way the shock does not get damaged. Now, how to make the upper mount? Any great ideas, Hyman?
Make a plate with some DOM and just weld on both sides and with a gusset underneath the DOM, something like that.
That's what I was thinking too.
Great minds think alike.
I'm gonna make a couple tabs for the upper shock mount. Now we're gonna cut this out 2 triangles like this with a 1-inch hole. We're gonna put this DOM through the hole, weld it around, square it up. Then we can get this tacked onto the truck. And then we'll make 2 gussets off of that. That'll weld off this DOM all the way down to the frame to get extra support. There we go. Got top mount, gussets, bottom mount. That should be pretty strong.
That needs to be mocked up on the truck.
Time to take it apart.
Just start in the back, we'll work our way forward. Send it in powder coat.
White, black. The exhaust, piping, that gloss, everything else white.
Okay. I'm really happy how this thing's looking. Once all the parts get back from powder coat, it will stand tall. We got the frame and suspension back from powder coat. We had it all color matched to the Denali, and it looks great.
Everybody ready?
So now it's time to put it all back together.
I'm going to go forward about 4 inches. You know, that's my favorite part of the build. Everything's coming back together, and you can finally see the final picture of what it's really going to look like. At this stage, it's like a giant puzzle made of steel. Custom 4-link bars, airbags, shocks, new wheels and tires, and bumpers. With a bunch of one-off features, there won't be another truck exactly like this on the road. On the clientele we have had through the shop, and the names of some of the clientele, you know, Houston Icon, like we did Earl Campbell's.
Look at that. Wow-wee, man, that is great.
Houston legend in the rap scene, you know, Slim Thug, we did his.
Sick, bro.
John Cena's a huge deal. He could take his car anywhere. But yet, he chose to come in here to get his dream MGC built. Do we normally work on British cars? No, I don't think anyone in the shop's ever even ridden an MG, much less worked on one. There's a huge following of those cars. No matter how well it's built or how good it looks, there's going to be a whole variety of these people who are upset because of what you did to this MGC. And if that breaks some hearts, it breaks some hearts. But we just don't do restorations.
The owner of the 2020 Denali wanted to lift this truck as a really cool gift to give to his wife. What better way to brighten her day than add a ton of light?
So one of the final steps in building this truck is we gotta add a bunch of underlighting. So at night you can see this thing glowing anywhere it goes down the road of the truck. Better get going. We gotta pop holes in the fender liners for the wires to come through, and then mount all these to the wheel wells. So the back wheel wells are a little tricky because they're flat. And these lights, you really want to curve them down to show the suspension and not show the tires. So we gotta try to figure out how to make that work. But once it's done, it's gonna be killer. So the only challenging thing about doing this is with 32 lights, and you have to do one at a time and go front to back, go around the truck twice. It takes a lot of time to connect them one to the other. We're going to turn them on and shoot them with the suspension the best way possible to light it all up. When you see this thing at night, it's going to be a real stunner.
You know, I love this story. I love when the husband gives the wife a gift, especially a custom truck. That's a good day for me, too. You know, it's always good to get a build out of the shop, but it's extra special when you can give it to someone for a surprise. Chris, what's happening?
Bill, how you been?
Hey, man, good. Hi.
This is my wife, Jennifer.
Hi, Bill.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. What are we doing out here, meeting in a field?
You hadn't told her anything.
Nothing. She just thinks the truck's in the shop.
Well, it has been in a shop, right? You didn't say what shop, Chris, right?
Right.
So where is it?
Your husband has had your truck at Extensive Metalworks, and we've been doing a few things. It was a big truck, already had a big lift on it, but Chris said, nope, it ain't big enough.
It's even bigger?
Oh, yeah. Surprise!
Surprise!
It's something that me and all the guys at the shop are very proud of, and I can't wait for you guys to see it.
Who's more excited?
Okay.
Let's check it out.
Let's do it.
I'm ready, man.
There it is. Oh my God.
Dude.
Look at this.
Wow.
It's so
That's freaking crazy. That didn't even look like the same truck, dude. Wow.
I love it. Love it.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Whoa. Man, that's awesome.
That is so cool.
Man, look at those airbags.
That's beautiful. Man.
You happy?
Yes, I'm happy.
You said you wanted bigger.
It's definitely bigger. It's a monster truck.
Right. I think she just coined a new phrase there.
It's a monster.
The monster truck. The kids are going to be so stoked about going to school now.
In the monster truck.
When it came in, it was a nice truck.
Nice wheels and tires, nice lift, had a good stance, but Chris said that ain't good enough.
Yeah.
He wanted his wife riding something just way, way over the top and to give you something special and totally surprise you.
It covered all. Amazing. That thing's a monster now.
I'm in awe. I just still can't believe how good the truck turned out.
Once we got it in the shop, we put it up on the lift and just ripped everything out. Ripped the independent front suspension all out and just started with bare frame rails. Once you make a truck really high with the independent, there's a lot of limitations to that. So what we did is put a straight axle in the front and build big 4-link bars going down to the new axles front and rear. Finish it off with air suspension, so you got about 10 inches of adjustability all the way up and all the way down.
That'll
so
come in handy.
When you roll up somewhere, if it just isn't quite tall enough, you just air it up a little more. All the custom metal work underneath a truck like this, brand new straight axle in the front with the big airbags, the big shocks. Man, it looks good.
We're glad you let us kind of have some free reign. We wanted to keep it classy with the Denali look. Bill went ahead and had the whole frame dropped out. The whole thing's powder coated, which really contrasts everything, the black to the white. It really makes everything pop really nice.
It is sick.
It is definitely.
And at night, you're going to see all that detail work underneath there, too. There's 32 underlights that just light up the whole underneath and just the whole concrete all the way around it.
Oh, man, I can't wait to see it.
Yes. I say it a lot, but I got to say it again. It's not a one-man show. Everybody without him, man. She's all yours now.
Yes.
I hope you love it.
Yes.
Well, babe, how'd I do?
You did so good. I love it. I love you.
Definitely hadn't been good to this one. We're going to pull out the engine, suspension, everything. We might need to make it rear-wheel drive.
I bought me this new 2021 Chevy Kodiak 4500.
Man. First thing we got to do, remove all the old suspension.
We'll make a 4-link setup for it.
Man, I just want to have a good ride, man.
Oh my God! Look at this! This is crazy!
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
Here at the Houston Garden Center today, the owner, Kim, gave me a call, said she's got a project for me to check out. You know, if this is the one she wants built, we got a lot of work to do.
Hey, Bill.
Hi, Kim.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you.
There she is. 1974 Cadillac Eldorado convertible.
A 74 Cadillac, that's your dream car.
I wouldn't say it was my dream car, but for an antique car, it was where I wanted to start because it was the year I was born, and my parents drove Cadillacs, and so that's the car that I wanted when I thought about getting an antique car. When I was growing up, Cadillacs were the best car that you could have, and I can't help but to think about my old neighbor when we carpooled, and I would slide across the back of the seat as she would turn corners because I think there was like 5 of us in the back seat. These cars have always been in my life, and I've always really wanted one.
So what are you seeing in this?
I want to totally transform this car.
Total overhaul.
Total overhaul. I want it to be a head turner.
Kim, this is, you know, I'm very good at what I do, but don't get mad at me. I think this is one of the ugliest Cadillacs I've ever seen, so.
No, I've seen your show. Sorry.
You know, a 1974 Cadillac, it isn't cool. But with all the real estate we have to work with, we're going to make it cool. Nice new paint, and we got to have some big wheels and tires. Some 24s on it. Wow. And, of course, you got a Cadillac. We want it to ride good, so we got to put air suspension on it and make it real low.
Okay, I got it.
What do you got under the hood?
Stock engine.
Let's check it out. It does open, right?
It's heavy, Bill. Whoa.
Man, it's a huge engine, but not a lot of go.
No.
So I think, you know, a late model LS, 500 plus horsepower under here, but, you know, this being a front wheel drive, we might need to make it rear wheel drive.
I know you can do that.
Let's check out the interior. Is that real wood?
Yeah, I think that might be plastic though.
And I'm surprised the interior looks fairly good, but it's red and really old, so we're gonna just rip everything out to start fresh. I want you to be able to get in, sit down, and just feel cool in here.
I want that kind of car.
Yes. Let's check out what's in the trunk. Way better than the hood. We definitely have a lot of room to not only have nice sound project towards the front, but
gotcha, it's a Cadillac.
Right. You know, we'll come up with something really nice, you know, to bring the interior color and everything all the way into the trunk and look stylish. So no matter where you go, you can pop the trunk too and kind of show off a little bit. What are you thinking on color? You got a favorite color?
I'm leaning towards like a metallic root beer brown. It's one of my favorites. I love the gold flakes and the way that the sun hits it. I think it's a way to keep the car true to the era also.
My mom used to have old root beer brown Monte Carlo. So
yeah.
I think that'd fit really good with that car.
That's kind of the way I'm looking.
Yeah.
And then as far as the interior goes, there's only one thing.
What's that?
Somewhere in that interior, I'd like a little red and yellow umbrella.
A red and yellow umbrella?
For our logo. Somewhere on the interior in there.
You got it. We'll make it happen.
Sounds good.
We're going to get back to the shop and get after it. You know, walking up to this car, you see the rust. And a lot of people are deceived when they see, you know, a little rust on the hood, a little rust here, think that's it. But looks are definitely deceiving on a project like this. Oh, Mother Nature definitely hadn't been good to this one. Leather's shut good, the glass is perfect, the rubber's all new. You get a project in like this, you're starting from the very, very bottom. You have to repair every bit of that before you even get started customizing. You know, a lot of the times, the vehicle we start with isn't worth hardly anything, but that's not what it's about. It's about that connection with your car. That's what drives the whole project. That's what drives the whole customizing industry, is the personalization that you want to put on your emotional attachment. To somebody like Kim, she's willing to go the extra step. Not only bring it back to life, to make it extra cool. A lot of work, but we're definitely up for it. We're going to build Kim a really, really, really cool 1974 Cadillac.
I don't think that's on right.
Think it's what they're talking about on the rap song? Sitting sideways?
I'm thinking it's probably the whole car. It's supposed to be sideways.
Not just the hood?
Not just the hood.
All right. Well, little backstory on this. This is Kim Hooper. She owns a Houston Garden Center here in town. This is a 1974 Cadillac. She says she's born 1974, so she wanted something. You know what she picked.
Why Eldorado though?
Right? I could probably think of a couple of cooler Cadillacs to pick, but this is what we got to work with.
This is the one she picked.
There is quite a few drawbacks to this car. It's not the most stylish of all the Cadillacs for sure. Another drawback, of course, is all the rust.
Oh, the body shop's gonna love you for this one.
Oh, yeah. Hey, it's job security for them for sure, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's check out underneath the hood. Show you what we're working with.
Oh, man.
This front-wheel drive configuration, gotta go. Gotta go.
Ain't cool.
Gotta go. Rip everything out, and we'll convert it to rear-wheel drive. New LS. That way she can push the gas pedal. Do some big old gnarly burnouts
from the back.
Yes.
Man, I really like this idea. This is gonna be cool. It'll be like one of the only ones that'll be converted to rear-wheel drive.
Yeah, with our framework, our control arms, big brakes, and a nice looking wheel and tire. Yeah, we're gonna put some 24s on it. Yeah. As far as interior,
oh, that's not too horrible.
But
can't have that.
No. Rip out the seats, carpet, put a new roof on it, new dash. Only thing she asks, she wants to incorporate her company logo in it somewhere. Check the trunk out.
You already know what's in here, don't you?
Nobody.
Kind of nervous about what's in the.
Oh, it ain't too bad. The lot color, the style, and everything way back into the trunk. To, you know, just finish everything off. We don't want to leave it looking like this back here.
No.
You know, of course, to make a cool car like this, we can't just paint it and put interior in it. That's a restoration.
Right.
We don't do restorations.
No.
So strip this whole car, get the metal work right, get the body work right, and then she requested to have a root beer brown with a lot of flake in it.
It's right up your alley.
It's gonna be cool.
Right on. You know, I've been looking for a sugar mama for quite a while, but I don't want to end up in that trunk.
When I hit the back quarters on this car, rust falls everywhere, and that's definitely not a good thing. First things first, we're going to pull out the engine, suspension, interior, let's just say everything.
To the other side.
And then we're going to send it off to blast. We'll see how big a job this really is.
I just hope the seats work. This car has power seats, and in order to get them out, we have to be able to move it back and forth to get to all the bolts. So I'm going to power this up, and hopefully we don't catch a car on fire. These seats being powered, right now they're all the way back and down against the floor, so I can't get to the suck. Basically, we just took a 5-minute job and turned it into a 4-hour job. Ouch! Get apart! Get out of there. The other side was not this hard. Bless it. Come on, you can come apart. I hate you. Get out of there. That was the electric motor. Now, all I got to do is take a screwdriver and manually turn the gears, roll this thing forward, and we'll be able to get to the bolts. The front seats are out, so next we get the rear seat out, rear quarter panels out. We'll let them finish getting the car taken apart, and we'll get the roof off of it.
All right, you got it? Come on. So now that John got rid of the whole interior, we got rid of the exterior, now it's time to separate the body from the frame. What we're doing now is gonna send it to sandblast. Hopefully it comes in good condition.
The caddy's back from blast and it's just as bad as I thought. The guys over in the body shop, they got a lot of work ahead of them.
So we just got our Cadillac back from Media Blast. So basically right now we're just making sure we get all our metal straight and take care of all the holes that we have on it and start our body work on it. We have some rust right here that we have to take care of. We got to cut this piece out. They're going to build a new piece of metal and weld it on there. Trying to hammer and dolly all the bottom of this piece right here so I can give it a curve. So now that I'm close to the shape that I want, now I can curve it a little. Making a flat piece into a curved piece takes a lot of time. You're trying to save as much body work as you can. You don't want to, put a piece on there and put a lot of filler on it. Take it to the table, hold my line a little more, punch some holes on the bottom of it so I can spot weld into the car. That'll keep the bottom of it together. Grind it to get ready for body work.
Got a 74 Cadillac, which is front wheel drive, which is totally not what we want in this situation. We're gonna add a lot of power, make it really low, and put some cool wheels on it. You can't do any of those with this front wheel drive configuration. We're going to reconfigure everything, make it a rear wheel drive, so it's going to hold a nice new LT engine, transmission, drive shaft, rear end. Everything is going to go through the car now. In order to do all that, we're going to make a brand new subframe. Anytime you're building something literally in the air, every little measurement is so critical just to make sure everything's 100% clean and straight and level. Once you establish all that, you can start going, you can start building, start creating. So that's the point we're at now. Everything's a level, everything's true. Now we're gonna start building.
All right, so cross member basically is gonna tie in our frame to our core support, and also it's gonna hold up our suspension. Basically, I need to take this 2x5 and tie it into this 2x3. I'm gonna cut with my cutoff wheel all the way down.
when I cut these, I kind of got this arch to them. Just using this clamp right now to make sure they're perfectly even. The closer I get to the end, it's gonna be really hard to push down. Go ahead and start welding them out now. Then we'll be putting them on the Cadillac.
So we're in a really good spot right now. We got our cross member all set in place and connected to the main frame rails. Only thing left is connecting front of the cross member to the core support.
It's pretty nice. Like you can see, I took the 5-inch and tapered it down to 3.
In our battle of the bays, every once in a while, a bay is set empty for a few days. You know, my job as a business owner, keep those bays busy. Even if that means putting in a quicker build with an urgent need, like this 2020 Kodiak that an old friend of mine just dropped off at the shop. What's happening, man?
What's up, Bill? What's going on, man? Y'all busy or what?
Where you been, man? I ain't seen you at the shows lately.
Man, you know how it is, man. They keep us busy here at work, man. But I got a little something coming up. I bought me this new 2021 Chevy Kodiak 4500.
Man, those are nice trucks, man. Real nice.
I want to see if you can do some little work for me on the back. The ride's a little rough, man.
I know it. These trucks come with a big old diesel Duramax V8 with 700 foot-pounds of torque. We've done a lot of 4,500 trucks over the years, you know, and they're not exactly designed for a smooth ride.
What do you think, man? Can you hook me up? Put me a little 4-link, put something back there for me?
You're talking about just the back, right? So
yeah, just the back, man. Just the back.
Hangers, 4-link, you know, rear suspension with bags on it.
That's it, man. I just want to take it to a show it off, man, and have a good ride, man. So I know you can do it.
Absolutely, and still be able to haul a trailer and
yes,
what the truck's meant for.
Yes, sir.
You know we got to build some running boards for that also.
Oh yeah, we'll do that. We'll throw it in there too, man.
You know what? You might have called me at the perfect time. Out in the shop, we're moving a bunch of stuff around. We're finishing a few things. This one time, I'm gonna skip you online and we're gonna put you down and get you done, man. You know, something like that we can get in and out fairly quick.
I know you're gonna do some bad work, bro.
We got you, man. We got you.
All right, bud. Thanks.
All right, man. I'll talk to you real soon.
What's up? Tell me what we got here. Man, Lulu, you know as well as I know, these things with these big spring packs, they ride horrible unless you have a big load on them. Tried to drive for a couple weeks, ended up beating to death. So pull the wheels off, take the hanger off, take the leaf springs out of it, put a small notch in it. We'll make a 4-link setup for it, upper bag mount. You can tell now that we have taken off the wheels, you got these springs in the back that are heavy duty. We're gonna eliminate that and start all over and give them a better ride. All right, those are heavy as hell. You got it? Watch out, watch out. I'm gonna go ahead and tack my C-notch in, find the center of where the rear end's gonna go.
The reason we're taking this section out, when this truck airs all the way out, we want it to sit that much more lower. Beautiful. And all we gotta do now is box that in on the bottom. We're gonna bend some flat bar. This is gonna go right underneath the bottom of that frame. We'll get this fitted in, it's welded out. Time to move on to making the 4-link tabs. Get them placed here on the axle, and then we can make the bars that connect from those to the hanger right off the frame. So what we got here is our bracket that gets welded to the rear axle. Being as we do so many Kodiaks, we already have this design saved on the computer. So every time we get a truck in, all we gotta do is hit go, and we'll burn these brackets out. They're ready to get put on the axle. Now we got those tagged in place. All we gotta do now is we'll get this bolted up there and mark where we gotta cut. Get that there. And we'll have as a 4-link bar completed. Now we got a top bar on, bottom bar on, connected from the axle to the frame. And what this is gonna let the axle do is move up and down as you're driving down the road and let it come into this notch to give it a smooth ride.
We finished the 4-link, added a panhard bar to the 2021 4500. Because this truck's a lot lower with the notch in the frame, the axle is going to travel a lot higher. So we need to raise up the factory hitch that came with the truck.
Definitely need to put a spacer or...
Yeah, it had to be a 3-inch. Since we seen us the truck so it could sit lower, we had to raise the gooseneck hitch up to give us clearance between the differential and the bottom of the ball. So all we did was make a little spacer to raise it up evenly on both sides, and we'll be able to weld this out on the sides, make it nice and strong.
John told me to make a template to cover up this and make it look a lot nicer here. So now I gotta go trace it on some metal, get it cut out, and bring it back over for John to fully weld it. There you go, buddy. Chop, chop.
Now that we got the end cut and capped off, it looks 100 times better than it did before. Not only does it look good, it's also stronger. So let's get on to the other side and get this thing done.
All right, so we got the door panels for the 74 Caddy. Pretty much just rotted, terrible. Besides that, doesn't have our flare.
While we're turning the 74 Cadillac to a rear-wheel drive on one side of the shop, over in the interior, John's shaping fiberglass inserts for what will be custom door panels.
So close. My plan, we're gonna make a fiberglass mold of the insert that goes on the door. I'm gonna take some acrylic, heat it up, and bend it around the base. And once we got that done, we'll backlight it and have something really cool on this kind of stockish door panel. All right, let's take a little bit of body work. We'll have this thing smoothed out. Got everything shaped out, body worked out. Next step is just start laying out some lines on here, draw some stuff, and come up with a shape for the insert. So what I'll do is I'll just take this transfer tape, I'll draw out my pattern, lay it on a piece of chipboard, get it cut out, transfer it into some 1/4" MDF. We'll double stick this down to a piece of acrylic. All right, off we go. Get the router table, get it cut out, and get to bending. So this acrylic is nothing more than plastic. So when you put heat to it, it starts bending, gets all soft and floppy and pliable. Take some weight. With that weight there, it'll start to sag on its own. And as it starts to do that, then we'll go in with clamping it into place. All right, it's nice and cool. Let's go ahead and break it down and move on to the next step. I'm gonna create a pocket on this panel. It's fun coming up with little things like this that you can add in and just kind of update what's in the car. Still using the same lines and the same idea and the principles of the car itself. Perfect. Which is one of the reasons they like the car. And give it our own little pizzazz. Let's get to it. In order to wrap this panel, we've got to embed this LED in it. We're going to take this LED and...
Yeah, we're down.
The way when we laminate it with our wood veneer, we'll see this edge glow.
So you're putting down a wood veneer and it's going to look like the wood is emitting light.
Yes.
Okay, that's badass.
I like it. I can wrap that panel now.
Alrighty. We got the front half of the frame done on the 74 Eldorado. Now it's time for the back half of the frame. If we're going to make it rear-wheel drive, we might as well make it rear-wheel drive. So we're going to use a 20x12. When this thing's going down the road, it's just going to look like it's got some big old meats up underneath of it. In order to do that, we're going to cut out the back half of the frame and build a subframe that's a little narrower. That's going to give us room for those big, wide 12-inch wheels. All right, I'm going to go transfer this to the table. And we'll start making a frame. Next thing is cutting some metal, actually placing it on the table, getting it tacked together.
Man, you done had to work for me already.
Yeah, made it easy for you.
That. Alright, so I got my 2x3 3/16 loaded up on the saw for the angles. So if I just go from 1 to 2 to 3, all these angles are going to match up perfectly. This was my last cut. This is going to be the end of my frame. Next thing is go ahead and lay it on the table. Let's go ahead and start welding everything out. So when I look at other cars, the first thing I'm looking at obviously is the welds. You know, I ride motorcycles. That's just a few welds on the stem that holds the front tire on. So wheels naturally are a concern for me. Any kind of weak spot in something like this could tear or break, so it's a lot of responsibility you have when you're building cars like this for people. Not only, to make everything look perfect and straight, and safety is my #1 concern. Here we go. All the welds are nice and solid. Got a good start to the back half of the frame. So putting the new frame in, we're going to go ahead and cut the existing rest of the original frame off the back half. So much room for new frames.
I'm going to help you real quick, get it all stood up, square up, and we'll put two little temporary pieces, boom, boom. 2x3 back here on the back cap. 2x3 right here for the front of the fuel cell in the front of the frame.
Now we got our braces on, a little bit of weld on here so all of our tacks aren't breaking while we're moving around the car. I'll go get Bill, throw the sucker up there, and tie the rest of the frame in.
Well, the subframe looks good, fits good, nice and narrow now. We got plenty of room for the big wheels. Now we just need to connect it to the last little part of the factory frame, and it's almost rear-wheel drive. The chassis on the 74 Eldorado is done. It's time to make this rear-wheel drive. This car was originally front-wheel drive, so there's no room for a transmission or drive shaft tunnel or anything connecting the front drivetrain to the back. So what we have to do is build a transmission tunnel. First step is cutting the floor out, the firewall out, all for the transmission and the drive shaft. Putting the transmission engine down in place, going from there.
How much farther back can I go? About 2.
We got the firewall cut out. Not something you expect every day to see a 74 Caddy rear-wheel drive.
Now we got a bigger transmission in here. Had to make a bigger trans tunnel. The trick to this now is, you see all my negative spaces, I'm going to have to add metal there, tied into the tunnel to anchor it down. Once I'm done with that, I'll trim everything out. It's going to look slick. Okay, so I'm utilizing the metal I had in here before. There's nothing wrong with it. It's good. It's not like this rotten stuff. Just a little bend in the floor. You can see how it comes up right here. It's going to make it nice and even so your foot feels exactly the same on the floor. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this gap in right here. This right here is something you don't see or people don't think about. Normally you just think about the wheels, the paint, or the interior, but nobody really pays attention to the small stuff like this. It might take me, 30 minutes to make one cut to get all this tied in like you see right now. But it's really crucial. It's kind of like the thankless part of putting a car together. All these little pieces like this, you don't see on the end.
It only took us a few days to knock out the air suspension on the 2021 4500, but it'll be a night and day difference. When Sammy's out driving, the ride's going to be way more comfortable than stock. Not to mention the stance is going to be that much better as well.
Now we got all the suspension busted all apart. Get it painted. We can get this thing put back together. Take it for a ride down the road.
There's always a juggle in any business, especially a custom car shop. When you have the big, long, drawn-out builds and you have the quick day-to-day jobs, it's always a juggle to make all that work. So when Sammy called, he needed a quick job done. It just worked out perfectly where we could get it in, get it knocked out, and get him on the road. Sammy, what's up, man?
What's up, Bill? How you been, bro?
All right, man.
Good.
All right. I know you're waiting on your truck to get out of town, right?
Yes, sir.
Man, you've been a friend of mine for a while, and we had to get you hooked up, man.
Appreciate it, man. I know it's
last minute thing.
Yeah.
But we got a show, and I know you're the right guy for it. I've been knowing Bill for at least over 10 years now. We've been in the same trucks he built and his guys.
It's ready for you. It's ready. It's going to ride good, handle good, and pull whatever you want to also.
That's what it's for, right?
That's it, man. Let's check it out.
Oh, man. That's killer right there, man. I like that. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Ooh, yeah, I like that.
Gets down, too.
That's it right there. That did it.
Yeah.
That did it.
What's up, Sammy?
What's up, Tim?
How you doing?
All right.
What you think, Sammy?
Oh, man, I love it, man.
The first thing we had to do, get it in, remove all the old suspension, those big, heavy springs that were in it. We had to notch the frame to get it down a little lower. We built big hangers in the front and a huge heavy-duty four-link with some big bags on it, too.
I like that.
Whatever you want to put on this truck, those big bags will handle it for sure.
Whatever, whenever, huh?
That's it, man. The gooseneck hitch that you already had, we just relocated it a little higher so the truck could go down a little lower. We mounted the valves up underneath the cab, mounted 2 compressors, tank, and everything is accessible for you later if you ever need to work on it for sure.
Good deal, man.
Of course, running boards. I know eventually you're gonna, finish it off yourself with the bed, and so we went ahead and built the running boards for you. So it's really gonna help you out a lot, man, to be able to raise and lower when you're hooking up to your trailer and to have a nice, smooth ride. So we do what we gotta do. Man, you ready to roll?
I'm ready. Hey, big thank you for the guys here at Extensive. I know it was a last-minute thing, but I'm glad that they pulled it off. They did a great job, and I'm ready to go show it at the shows.
Hey, one more thing. What you got? Got to put that sticker on the back now. Yeah. Then you're ready to roll to the show. All right, man.
All right, we're ready.
Now you're ready to roll.
Now we're ready.
And the body work are all done on the 74 Eldorado. So we're going to send the frame to powder coat. And now I can pick the paint color. So I just got a sample piece from the powder coater for a 74 Cadillac. So it's got some texture in it. A brown color and black all mixed together. It hides a lot of imperfections that are in the factory frame, and it just ties everything together. So I have a sample of the powder, and then I'm going to pick a color that matches the powder coat. A root beer brown with a heavy flake. So kind of just going through the browns that we have. And I think on this, it's an easy choice. With this brown has not only heavy flake, but a pearl also. I think that's color, man. The sunset bronze metallic. Man, when the sun hit it, it's gonna go crazy. So it's definitely gonna be the shine she's looking for. As I've said, I've never been a fan of the 74 Cadillac Eldorado, but with everything we're doing to this, it's starting to look like a very different vehicle. The paint alone is really going to make a statement.
So this paint is pretty expensive because all the pearl and crystals they have in it. This gallon, just the base, is going to be about close to $2,000. So we don't want to mess this up because it ain't going to be cheap. I think just this bottle right here is about like $200. So gold pearl we gotta put on there. So this is a flattening agent. You don't want your base coat, shiny, and your clear is gonna make it shine. Alright, so this is it. We got all our colors in there. Now we're gonna take it to the paint shaker, shake it for about 5 minutes, and we have our color together in that big old Cadillac. I think everybody likes the metallic on those big cars, especially on Cadillac. Having a Cadillac is like a symbol of luxury, I guess. You'll get some tension on that big car.
The owner, Kim, wants to incorporate her company logos into the interior, but she left it to us to figure out how and where to put it.
In order to take their company logo that's just 2D flat artwork and make it into something that's 3D, we have to start laying out some lines that make a grid pattern. do this over and over until we have something that looks like we want. We're just kind of blocking it in right now to build it in 3D. It'll look really cool when it's done.
Hey, sister.
Hey, what's up?
Stumbled across these delightful, wonderful pieces of 1974 modern art.
I saw these on the doors.
Yes. I want to unsee them on the doors.
This was a factory piece?
Yes.
All right, I'll draw something up. I was looking at their logo on the internet, and I was seeing this house over the umbrella, and then they have the red and yellow canopy that's very distinct. So we can take some of these other features and add them to the umbrella so that we can kind of fill up the square space. I'm all set. I got the job right here. I'm going to walk this over to our 3D printer. The machine's going to come up to temperature and do its little ones and zeros. Then each of those layers are going to be drawn here and go up and drawn more and up and drawn more until the design is done. All right, it looks like our 3D printing is done. These are our door medallions. I like that a lot. Our spiffy new squares. I think this is going to look really cool.
While John and Jen are cranking on the interior, the frame is back from powder. Now we can get to building that rolling chassis. Looks good, huh?
It's really going to accent that car real nice.
Man, I love the hammer tone, the copper vein. You know, it's got the brown and the black imperfections in the factory frame. It just ties everything together. It's going to look good. Get the engine on this thing, all the suspensions, get a rolling chassis, man. Then we'll set the body right on it, man.
That's good. I'm good. It's a Cadillac. Man, you always remember that one car when you're little, when you wanted or when you wanted to drive or when you rode around it.
Yeah.
Everybody has one of them cars, right?
Man, it's definitely a project me and my dad had. It was a 38 Ford with a 6-inch chop on it. It had a 427 in it. I mean, it was your typical straight rod. And everywhere we took the truck, I mean, it was just a good time. They didn't even make it back to the house before we had already chopped the top.
The one that stuck with me was the old family wagon 83 Cadillac Coupe de Ville. Me and my brothers all rode in that thing. And
how many fights in the back seat y'all have?
Oh, a ton of them. Ton of fights.
Man, growing up on the farm, when I got to go to town, I'd always see a buddy of mine back then. He had the hydraulics on a little Mazda. So I was 13, 14, see his truck going down the road.
Blew your mind, right?
It made me realize you can do anything you want if you put enough work into it. You know, you look back now and you realize how much that becomes part of the family. That car's still in your family. You still have that car. When your kids are in the backseat arguing, that's what your parents went through. I still have the first truck that I built.
You know, since it got here, it's hard to think of a spot that we haven't touched on the 74 Eldorado. From making it rear-wheel drive, to the custom chassis and suspension, you know, all that bodywork and paint, and now we're finishing up that handmade interior.
We're working on the subwoofer enclosure for Kim's 74 Cadillac. What this is a brace for inside of the enclosure so that when the subwoofer is playing and the box is trying to flex, this is actually going to hold it together so that you don't end up with a reverberating sound out of the box. Since you'll be able to see it through the window, I'm dressed up a little bit. We'll just put a chamfer on it, give it a little bevel, straighten it up. In the custom world, it's all the little things that you do that make all the difference. Coming together perfect. So, Jen's working on some side panels. I'm gonna start working out the front panels, get all this tied together, work our way around, we'll get this trunk wrapped out.
You know, all in all, I wasn't a fan of the 74 Caddy, but, you know, a good team comes together and makes cool stuff. A whole car that you would just walk right past and not ever care in the world about to what it is. Man, you're talking about a transformation, and that is most definitely the definition of custom. It's been a long journey for the 74 Caddy. Now it's time to give it back to Kim.
Hey, Bill, how are you?
Hey, good.
Man, when I got your call last night, I didn't sleep a wink. I couldn't wait to get over here and see what you have done to my car.
When I came to your business and seeing that car for the first time, I definitely had reservations of taking on the job. I wasn't fond of the body style whatsoever, but since then, went through every nut and bolt, and we made that Cadillac come alive. The car is beautiful now. I'm impressed.
Sounds like I made you a fan of a 74 Eldorado now.
Yeah, now I am. Check this out.
Yes! Oh my God! Oh my God, it looks amazing! Look at it!
Drop it down, man!
Oh my God, look at this! This is crazy! I'm gonna have to do this all the time when I pull up somewhere a long time. I'm just speechless. I'm so excited to finally have it finished. It's beautiful, Bill.
It's a long, long, long way from what it was, right? Is that the right color brown you were looking for?
Perfect. Perfect.
Getting that paint cocktail perfect, with the right pearl, with the right metallic, is key to making a job like this look 100%. 24s dropped all the way on the ground just changes the whole attitude of a vehicle. You pull this car up, you set it on the ground, everybody knows you've arrived in a cool car. We couldn't put a good looking wheel underneath of it, have a lot of power in the hood, and still keep it front wheel drive. So we just built a whole new part of the frame and made it rear wheel drive.
So we can do some burnouts now?
Absolutely. You got something really cool here, and it's one of a kind. I want you to check out what we did under the hood.
Oh my God, look at that.
Long gone is the old Cadillac engine. This is a late model LT. You wanted some power under the hood? That's it.
This is amazing.
When you pop the hood, people are going to be impressed with what you got.
I think they will. I'm impressed.
Let's check out the interior.
Oh my God, look at it.
And you wanted it loud.
Yep.
This is definitely loud now. Have you seen the door panels? All the speakers in it. New console, wireless charging, just like a new car. And you see the big transmission hump. Wasn't anything there before. It was just flat.
I love how you did the wood grain on the sides. It's modern, but it still has that 1974 Eldorado feel.
And it's all backlit also. It looks really cool at night. You wanted your company logo built in here somewhere, and we have it in the door panels itself.
Never would have thought you would have incorporated it there, but I'm very pleased. It looks amazing. I don't think you missed one detail, Bill.
Well, you want to check the trunk out?
Let's go check it out.
Pop it up, man.
Oh my God. This is as cool as the rest of it.
Right. She had to have room for the bodies in the back, so we left you a lot of room back here. And it also has storage underneath here also, so you can still haul stuff and not have to worry about it sliding around. You had to have it loud, so we've got you a 12-inch sub in here also, so you not only hear it, you feel it.
Absolutely beautiful. Bill and his guys definitely knocked it out of the ballpark on this one. I can't thank you enough for everything you've done. I love this car.
So we did good.
You did great is what you did.
I love hearing that. You made me a fan of the 74.
I'm glad I could bring you around. Thank you.
I can't thank my guys enough. Transforming something like what it was, what it is now, this is most definitely, that's what we do, man. See what needs to be improved and get after it. 1960 Jeep Willys. Now the work really, really starts getting going. Putting all that metal back in place, that's a huge, huge job. But we're just really getting started.
Looks better already, huh?
We still don't have an engine for it.
I'm trying to find a late model Hellcat motor.
Oh, Lord, look at this thing, man.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
break from the shop, come out, check out the new slab, relieve a little frustration. Do a Donut is going to be short-lived. This is soon to become the Extensive Metalworks' new headquarters with a lot more space. Extensive started in one small little 30 by 40 shop. For the past 25 years, we've just been building and building and building, and we're busting at the seams right now. There's nowhere else to build. Here we are, brand new property, about to build an even bigger facility, 8.5 acres, starting out with 30,000 square feet, and we'll see where it goes from there. We have plenty of space to keep going, keep progressing. I never would have dreamed this, so I can't say a dream come true, but this is the next phase in Extensive Metalworks evolution. We have a whole lot left to do before the new shop is finished and we can move in. But some things can't wait, like the record. It seems like we just bought it, so I'm gonna run over to RPM, see my buddy Ryan.
What's happening, man?
What's up, Bill? See what he's got on the lot, get that new record going. Man, you know the 5500 you built me is a badass truck, but I got a little problem with it.
What's that?
You know, our builds always get bigger and better. You know, they've been getting heavier too. So I'm just feeling like I need a little bit bigger truck. I'm just overloading the one we got right now. I think it's time for, you know, a trade up.
Cool, let's go find another project.
Let's go check it out. And you got all kind of stuff out here.
We just sold him a new truck a year ago. What about something like this here?
Man, it's a big old truck.
You know, with Bill, whatever he has is going to get bigger, bigger, and bigger.
75 ton?
100 ton.
100, huh?
And go bigger.
Man, this is what I'm talking about right here. This size truck, I won't ever have to worry about anything again. But the International, man, I like that. Let's check that one out.
That's the one you need, come on.
Good looking truck, man. Love it. I love the pewter. You know, I'm usually a black truck guy, but pewter looks good. You know, just looking at the International, the other trucks are just a little more industrial. The International just has that look of just wanting to be customized.
26,000 pound GVW so you can haul the weight that you need to haul.
Yeah, that's what I don't want to worry about.
No swinging and banging.
Man, I love the wheelbase of this. You know, the air suspension on the back so we can get even lower, huh?
Yes, sir.
That's a must. I'm seeing a lot of potential here. Maybe split the bumper, maybe give it a little bit more length. Once you get the bed on, you get the toolboxes on. We can build a running board that comes from the front fender all the way back to the back, you know, right into the boxes itself and really finish all that out.
Brand new equipment. You're going to chop it all up?
Yeah.
Just like you do with everything.
That's what we do, man. See what needs to be improved and get after it. So once you do what you do, I'll get it over to my shop and do what I do.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. Let's do this one.
Bill's going to do his own custom stuff once we're done, so we need to hurry up and get in action and take care of our side. Our cabin chassis that we're using has a long extended frame. We're going to need to whack that off at the back so we can have our pivot point, so we're going to cut the frame off at the right length that we need.
Now we're ready for the bed, and next step is going to be set the bed on the frame. Okay, coming down.
We're using a steel bed, 12,000 pound deck, 102 wide, thing that Bill puts on it. Get that welded on, bolted down, get that mounted up, and we'll move to the next step, which will be toolboxes.
Okay, push. This is the toolbox that we're going to install. We call it Monster Toolbox because this is the biggest one. It's a 78 by 20. Alright. This is huge. Go in some more. Slowly. Right there. We use silicone to seal the holes. That way the water doesn't go into the toolbox.
Alright. Bill took care of me so good on my dad's truck. We're gonna give it that little extra pizzazz. Sneak it off to the paint booth. Add this color and blend it on down here on the side rail. Give it that little extra customization.
ready to go. So now we're gonna put the pylon, which they painted too. We're gonna do the light bar after that, and then keep on with the winch cable and tow some trucks.
You know, it's real cool to build a rolling business card. This wrecker is going to be one of Extensive's shop trucks. You know, something that we use on a daily basis that gets the job done, but it's got to look real cool while we're doing it. You don't want to be riding around a regular old wrecker, you know, that everybody else has. When somebody sees our truck go by, I want not only the wrecker community, but everybody to go, damn, that's a cool truck. Oh yeah, it just happened to be a wrecker too. What you think, Timmy?
This thing's bad. Really nice.
Little upgrade, right?
First thing I noticed, though, it's got 22.5, so we should be able to haul whatever we want.
No more problems.
Is the deck longer on this one, too?
Way bigger, man. I mean, everything about it's just huge. Oh, RPM did real good on it, man. But it needs a little bit more upgrading. I want to build something that is not only a cool wrecker, but I want it to be a cool truck.
Well, I already know you got something planned for here.
I mean, definitely got to build some running boards, you know, from the bottom of the cab all the way down where the lower step's at. From the front wheel to the rear wheels. Fenders over the wheels, you know, get rid of the mud flaps and all that.
That's going to look super clean.
Yeah, real cool. And, you know, the front bumper, too, you know, it looks too puny on here. So cut it, split it, stretch it. So it's the same height as a running board. It's all the way around. Gives it that meaner look from the front. Color match it and add a bunch of lights. It's going to look cool. You know, one other thing is replacing this pylon. Man, it looks cool. They did a great job, but I think it'd be way cooler with one big toolbox back here and with the light bar sitting on top. Something that really clean it up back here. And
especially down here in Texas, we need something to keep everything out of the weather. Well, the next question is, where are you going to work on this thing? It's too long for the bays. We can't shut the doors.
Yeah. You got to get it in where you fit it in, right?
Awning it is.
Yeah. Let's do it. Man, this is going to be the quickest teardown I think we've ever done, man.
I hope so.
Yeah. We're going to make a new toolbox.
Okay.
So we need to take off the pylon. All right, set this down. For now, we're going to leave the steps on until we draw out how the running boards are going to look. Shoot, the only thing else is the front bumper. That's it.
Okay, Bill was absolutely right. That was definitely the fastest teardown I've ever done.
We're in the process of figuring out how we're going to do the running boards for a factory truck. You know, the guy getting in and out of the truck every day, it works. But it just doesn't look cool. It don't look custom. We're going to fill in all this void in between the toolboxes and the fender, you know, pretty much from wheel to wheel. I want to have a nice, clean running board that's going to hide all this and have one long step. So it's going to look cool and be functional. It's going to be fun. You know, we're at one of the very beginnings of the process. You know, first you got the idea. Second, we're going to transfer the idea over to the chipboard. I'm going to make a pattern. Go check and see if it fits to it, man. But in the process of doing this, you're thinking in your head, hey, how can I make it cooler? How can I make it better? This is going to dead end right into the box. You need to make that a little longer.
That looks pretty good.
I got a little piece of scrap just so we can start bending and just make sure we don't bend ourselves into the corner. You know, I've bent pieces before and then it won't fit into the brake. So I'm just bending this at the shape we're going to bend in a big sheet. That way we don't waste a big sheet of metal. That won't work.
Yeah, that'll be the last bend too. We'll make it. Good morning.
What?
Yeah, man, I finally cut it.
Who are you?
It's been a while since I cut it. It's been a little over 3 years. So dude, feels so much different. It's not all my face when I ride, but you know, it's still taking getting used to. I keep on rubbing my face and my beard's not there. It's kind of crazy.
Well, it's good to have old Jaime back.
Right on.
You know, for me, a big key to metal fabrication is making it look like it came from the factory like this. We're bending the running boards on the 22 International. We're going to make it match the overall shape and flow of the factory truck.
Come on down.
Ready?
Yeah, try that.
You know, it's really critical in bending anything like this with multiple bends to make sure every bend is in the right spot. If you mess up on the first one, all the other ones are going to be out of whack and crooked. It's going to be, we definitely don't want that.
We're at this bend, right?
Yeah. I don't love bending metal. Just satisfying, you know what I mean? There we go. Shit, man.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Definitely change the look of that thing.
There's one way to find out. Push it in a little bit. All right. It's pretty close. And now you can kind of see where all the bends actually fit on the truck itself. One clean look all the way from front wheel all the way to the back. Damn, that's pretty badass.
You gotta see out there what Bob did that Jeep. He cut the whole thing in half this way, he cut it that way. So the Jeep's now in 4 pieces.
Oh man, what y'all talking about?
I was just explaining to Max how Bob just walked right up to that Jeep, just looked at it, and just cut it straight in half.
Man, you'd be heartbroken. I brought in Bob for one of our biggest metal jobs in a while. The owner of a pristine Willys Jeep wants to give it that mean bulldog look. So Bob quartered it, making it wider and longer. We got it all braced up. Now the work really starts getting going.
It looks totally different.
Mm-hmm. Cutting the cab up into 4 pieces, you know, it's just a start. You know, putting all that metal back in place, you know, that's a huge job. From that to building the frame, chopping the front end up, widening it, building a full bed, painting. After all that's done, huge interior job. And we still don't have an engine for it.
What motor are you going with on that one?
Oh man, you gotta have the Hellcat in, right?
You did decide with Hellcat?
Yeah. This truck came with an old straight 6, but that definitely won't cut it. The Hellcat's a 6.2 with over 700 horsepower stock. Way too much power for it, right? So that's just right. It's pretty much a race engine, not something you normally put in a truck. I know it's next to impossible to find a new one, right? Supply chain crap is all out of whack.
You know, we're a year out on those.
So, you know, let's go. The next best thing is trying to find a pull out of something, you know, late model, very low mileage, you know, clean engine.
So I got a few feelers out, and the ones I've found so far are either, you know, they've been in a high-speed wreck, so the whole front's mangled up. The Hellcat on it, you know, so we got to have an actual real Hellcat.
Yeah, I want the real deal.
Got to have it. Hopefully, shouldn't be too much longer. We'll have something to fit in there.
Yeah, we're going to need something pretty quick, man, so pedal to the metal.
Yeah.
You ready?
Y'all have fun.
All right.
Today I'm running around town trying to locate a Hellcat motor for this Jeep Willys. Houston has so many incredible little places for parts, but you got to know where to look. Hola, Jefe!
Hey, how you doing, brother?
What's up, my man? So I'm here at Tex-Mex today. You know, it's a junkyard, so they have all kinds of stuff. And what some people think is junk is big money to this guy. Man, you got all kinds of motors over here.
We sure do.
You keep all kinds of good stuff, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Some of these motors just look like complete junk. You know, they've been on fire, they're wrecked. That's a new, LT motor?
Yes, sir.
Got a little hot, huh?
Yes, a little bit.
But a lot of stuff you can just pull off, replace, and it's still fully usable.
2006 5.3 out of Chevy pickup 4x4.
That's a good motor. That's on the hot rod motors. They're pretty small in the LSs. This one's not going to be here long.
Yeah, somebody already have put down.
That one's already sold?
Yes, sir.
That happens. Ooh, big Cummins diesel.
Yes, sir. 5.9 diesel motor. All 5 dash pickup.
Everybody wants one. Yeah. Man, there's a lot of good stuff here that we could use, but I'm really on the hunt for that Hellcat. So if you find one low mileage, brand new in the box, any one of those, you know, give me a shout. We'll come over, I'll grab it, and we'll get it in this project.
Back to the shop, we're getting busy on the metalwork for the Jeep. By stretching it out, we gained in between 6 and 8 inches on the body. Now Bob's gonna make it all seamless.
Okay, right now I'm trimming this piece into here. That'll be the start of this. You notice these are rounded on the ends and this is squared off. We're gonna round these. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna split it right here, and then we're gonna actually hand hammer it all around. Okay, we got it all hammered out. What we did here is we made the ends round, and then it'll have a nice finished edge, just like the rest of the doors do. Okay, now we got this welded in. We got the lines here rounded off, bodywork, it'll look perfect. We made an extra long piece. We're gonna use about half of it to match the contour of the cab. See how it mates up to it really nicely? But to do that, we're gonna have a problem because they don't really have a roller for doing this. So we're gonna make some special tooling. It should be pretty cool. Okay, let's look in the junkyard.
Since I opened Extensive over 2 decades ago, I hate throwing stuff away.
Probably even use a coil, but I don't want to ruin something they might use.
You know, as a lifelong fabricator, you just never know when you can use something. So I'm definitely not surprised Bob using old parts to make a new tool for that 60s Jeep.
This is too big, huh?
No, that's perfect. We need 3 of them. We're going to use these old U-bolts here we found in the boneyard to build our tooling to bend this. What we're going to do is we're going to weld 3 of them together, and then we're going to use a rubber mallet, and that'll give us our curve. That's why it's a good idea to never throw anything away.
So I'm new here at the shop, and having an opportunity to work with a guy like Bob Grant is just amazing.
That looks pretty good. Like that?
Okay.
We're gonna weld them in like this.
So they don't teach you this kind of stuff in school, so it's really cool to learn how to do it. It takes a lot of experience and years of work to really figure it out. So I'm having a pleasure learning it. As you can see, our tool came out pretty good. Lines up perfectly with our bend. So now it's time to put it to use.
This is a hard piece to form because there's 3 rolls we gotta do here. The edge is a little bit wavy, so I got this hammer. We're gonna fine tune it. Worked pretty good though for some old U-bolts. Okay, we got it pretty good now. Matches our pattern. Might be a little bit long on the sides here, but we'll check it out and see how it looks. The ribs here match these. What I'll do is I'll cut this out and butt weld it all. That'll finish the body line around the back and match the cab perfectly. Our new piece in here, that new tool really helped us out. Matches the ribs perfectly. We'll install the other side and get it all ground up. We got this corner all ground down, all the body lines match up. Next, we're gonna build some filler panels for these. Cut out our pieces and pre-fit them. And then we'll start tack welding them in there. Okay, so we got this all cut out, but when we were cutting it, I noticed there's like a good ½ inch of lead right here. So evidently this thing got hit pretty bad at one point. I'm gonna cut out that area. I'll re-roll another cap piece. We noticed it kind of hit the inner structure a little bit too. Well, you can kind of see all the damage here. So this whole corner is built out of lead. That's not even a real corner. Looks like I could maybe get rid of some of it just by digging it out. Maybe hammer it a little better. This piece I'll have to replace though. All lead right there. So my next step is to remake this little flange here and roll this little piece. So this is how they should have fixed it the first time. So back in the day, they used lead to repair a lot of damage on cars, and they'd put it on with wooden paddles. They'd heat it all up and put it on, and they'd use it just necessarily the right way to do it. A lot of people like using it, but I don't. It's really poisonous. It stays in your system. Actually looks pretty good. High octane, unleaded. It gets pretty exciting seeing all the pieces go back in. So it's starting to look like an actual vehicle. Yeah, it'll be all ready to go, just like factory.
I'm on the hunt for something, man, and I'm hoping you're gonna be the guy that's gonna help me out. A lot of guys only look for parts on the internet, and I do too. I'm trying to find a late model Hellcat motor. All right, let me get this number from you. But I found as much success going old school. You know, picking up the phone, calling everybody I can think of. 75,000 miles, and it's been run to the track. Yeah, that's not really what I'm hunting for, man. I appreciate it, though. The customers, they don't care if the parts are hard to find. They just want what they want, and they want it yesterday. One was on fire. I definitely don't need that one. These Hellcat motors are race engines. A lot of times they end up destroyed, being driven too hard or crashed. Oh no, no paperwork? Yeah, let me look into this and I'll get back with you. It doesn't have paperwork, but it's still got a chunk of frame around it, so I don't know that
that sounds stolen just a little bit, right?
Well, on to the next one. We're trying.
We're almost finished with those custom steps on the 22 International. So Jamie's out there putting the final pieces onto the design. We got a little filler piece in between the running board and the box, Jamie. So all we want to do is, you know, we got this step hanging out. So let's just cut the little end of it off, give it a little nice little gradual step into the filler.
Yeah, that's definitely what it needs. We could have just capped this and been done with it, but we took the extra step, you know, a lot of cutting, some bending, folding, to go ahead and add this cap to tie in, and then we're going to add this piece to tie into that. You know, it's all the things you really don't see that takes the time, you know, but when it's all together, it looks like it's supposed to. You know, I could have just left the box alone and not added this piece, but I'm going to see this truck every day, and it's going to ring over and over in my head. I could have done that. I should have my other piece right here. Getting a little freedom to do kind of what I want to. You know, I'm really happy with it. Bill's definitely got the confidence in me to take care of this by myself. There we go. I'm happy with it. Bill's going to love it. I'm going to be able to look at that and be proud of it. Birds are chirping, dogs are barking, metal's flying. Fix and weld some stuff.
The 22 International is going to be our new record that'll represent the shop. So of course it needs to fit the part. So I'm thinking a meaner bumper that'll give it the right look.
So with everything that we're customizing on the truck, you know, this bumper right here really stands out. It's too short, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and splice it, add my 6 inches in between, give it that nice aggressive look from the front so it matches the rest of the truck. I'm going to do this in 3 pieces. My middle section first, stick this in the roller, just give it a little shape. Now you can see it's got a little curve to it. That's going to be way too pitched forward. The bumper be touching the wheels if I leave it pitched down. Edge a little bit right here, sand it back just a little bit more till I'm happy, so I can get that perfect pitch where it's flat instead of just tucking down. Oh, you see me running my hand across it like this. Basically, I'm seeing if my fingernail grabs it. If my fingernail grabs it, I know it's too high. If it's just a smooth transition on my fingernail, I know that's right where I need to be. Then we'll go ahead and start on the sides. Gonna roll out. That's tricky here. You know, it's not like the middle piece. I have a radius going this way, so I need to trim this piece off. because I don't want to be in short on this end. I still want the same distance so the bumper's even all the way down. The bumper's forming up real quick. I like the shape. Go ahead and start tacking in, walk it all the way down. Once you get this side, duplicate it, do the other side, trim it. Next, we're gonna be adding this piece. Now this is my center mark right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure between these holes, find my center, bang, bang, boom, we're gonna tack it. I'm going back and forth, because I don't want any of these ends, you know, they're loose, you know. I'm clear right there, I'm not over, I'm not under. I'm making sure I'm consistently even all the way across. Once I get it all tacked in, then I can come back and start filling in between my tacks. Now you can see, I got the bumper stretched now. It was a lot of work, but final product, man, this thing's sharp. It's gonna look good on that truck.
Max is great at what he does. You give him something to do, consider it done. And would you know, he found the Hellcat for the 60s Willys Jeep.
I got a buzz online that Buddy Lynn, who's like a local car collector, he's got one. So I'm over here now to see if we can make a deal and get this thing. Man,
Finally got you out of here.
yeah, how are you?
Man,
You got a couple cars out today, don't you?
pick your poison. What you thinking?
Wow! I've always heard Lynn was a little bit of a car collector, but I didn't know that it was to this extent. You got a little bit of
We
everything.
got my baby right here, the Demon baby. We did a lot of modifications to it.
Awesome.
You know, top end, bottom end pulleys. You know,
She's full go fast.
She full go fast.
This guy's got Jeeps on tracks. He's got a side-by-side rat rods.
Then your boy over here did this as well, Justin.
Real nice. I think he's got a little bit of everything. Is that a big wheel trike?
She did that for my wife for Mother's Day, man. You know, one of a kind.
She got good taste.
She's happy, I'm happy.
That's all about
I get
it.
to buy what I want to buy as long as she gets it.
You're right. Speaking of buying, you got a motor I'm looking for.
We got a little something over here for you. You've been waiting on, man.
Let's
I
go
heard.
check it out.
We got it. Let's roll. Being in the car game, you know, you come across everything and everybody that wants to buy certain things. And I happen to have a 2019 Red Eye motor and trans. Yeah, there she is, the golden girl. What you been wanting, baby?
That's exactly what I've been hunting for.
She ain't missing nothing, baby. Wild Hornets, the old component HP2. She has a little cam work pulley system. Top end of it's done. You know, whole
She's
9
definitely
yards.
Red Eye.
There we go, baby. That's her.
Just putting down, what, 11?
1175. Like I said, by the time you get done with it, 1200. You know how that goes.
It's got a whole bunch of oomph in it. Whole bunch. How many miles do you think's on it?
Give or take 25, 35.
Perfect.
Right up in there. Now, my question is, what is this going in?
It's going in a 1960 Jeep Willys.
Wow. Wow. That little bit of Jeep truck for this, that Willie's gonna do a Willie. I would love to see that, though.
I appreciate you holding on to it, because I know if I didn't show up and get it,
somebody was on the way.
I guarantee
told me
it.
to be here in 20 minutes. If you ain't come, I promise you they was coming through that gate.
Well, let's get it loaded up, man. Don't get out your hair.
It's all love, baby.
I appreciate you, man.
All right.
That is exactly what we were looking for. This one showed up that just weren't up to what we were looking for, because either it was in a wreck or, you know, it's just been beat to death, because it's a race car motor. But luckily this one looks really well taken care of, and that's a little bit less pressure on this build now that we found the heartbeat.
We got one more piece to fill in the 60s Willys. It's also the biggest piece, that roof. Wouldn't you know, our old parts coming in use again.
Does that look like a top to 59 Caddy to you?
Yeah, it sure does, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's the one Bill said we could use. Soft Slim Tug's car.
Cool, let's do it. We left a little bit extra on the sides just in case, because it's better to have it a little bit too long, that way you can trim it to fit. So let's see if it comes off here. Alrighty.
We're gonna take the roof skin over here, put it up top. So it looks like we're gonna cut it about 10 inches. Just a little bit better way to do it, because you're not welding so much in the middle of the skin, because it always wants to sag. Hang under there with the dolly, and it just takes forever. It's doable, but it's kind of a waste of time. Looks better already, huh? I know the this looks crazy and bad right now, but once we get it all cut out and trimmed up, it's gonna look perfect. Let's see how it fits perfect. That's just the way it goes, huh? Man, this turned out good. It looks all in proportion. It's lengthened, it's widened. I mean, it's everything they asked me to do. This thing's gonna be really, really cool when it's all finished.
Bob killed it on the metalwork on the 60s Jeep. Juan and the body guys, they got after it as well. And now the Jeep body looked like it rolled off the Willys assembly line back in 1960.
All done. Man, I love it, man. I love seeing it in this state compared to what it was a couple weeks back. Chopped up in many, many pieces. You guys killed it, man. Seeing the cab in this state just gets everybody excited in the shop and gets those creative juices flowing. So much work has been done to this already. We got many, many, many man hours, but we're just really getting started. Oh yeah. Just getting the front end where it needs to be. That's a whole nother project in itself. We're gonna build the whole frame, build all the suspension, then put the engine, then put the trans, then build the firewall, building the whole handmade bed for it. This is such a daunting project. We got a long way to go, man.
Oh yeah. All right, man, it's all yours.
You know, if you're not from Houston, you may not know it can get really cold in the winter. And today, it's going to be freezing. So we're trying to make room to fit that big old International inside, where we can make the custom toolboxes. You know, the power line that was on it, it was cool. It's good looking for most wreckers, but in this case, you know, I want something a little more little box. One of the major challenges in this is getting the look right, because you can just build a box, put it on, and just totally ruin the look of the truck. We got a piece of aluminum square tubing soapstone on it, and I'm just going to trace around the cab so it goes along with the rest of the truck.
The soapstone lines are good, but a lot of times they're real hard to see once you got a saw right on it. So I'm just gonna lay me down some fine line tape right on the line so you get a better visual of where you're cutting. A little bit of this soap helps the aluminum from sticking to the blade, clogging it up. Helps lubricate it, keeps it from sticking. Our secret cutting saws will be available soon on the web store. Now we got the first piece all cut out, and we're gonna get another pull sheet and lay it across the back. Now we need a magic stick, and we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna trace this edge off the cab, but off of this, to get that back piece the same shape as this. The reason for that is the back one's gonna be an angle, so it's not gonna be exactly the same as this. It's gonna be a little taller.
You got it so it lines up?
I hope so.
Good shape though, it fits the cab really good. And we're making some headway right now. We got the back part of the wall in, and we're starting to build from the back wall out. So it's a lot easier to do that other than building a box and then putting shelving in. So put the shelves in, and then we'll just keep on building from there all the way out. Just doing the quick layout of the door spacing right there. And we're about to cut out the door openings, and we want to make that 100% right and true. We get one shot at it, unless you want to buy some more metal. 8-inch aluminum isn't very cheap.
Made me a template with some chipboard of that wraparound that comes from the top down to the side. Majority of our lines are straight, so what I'm gonna do is cut most of it I can with the straight edge, and then all the curves I'll go back with a jigsaw. That fits really, really well. take this off and I guess put it on the floor over there. It's a little heavy. Start building these doors. We got all the door frames welded in place, sanded and smooth. All I need is this measurement here. So our door is going to be about 21.5 inches. We got to overcut it about 3/4 of an inch on each side and top and bottom. That way we can cut the corners out, break each side, and that'll give us a partial box. Makes the door stronger, it won't flex as much, and it'll tuck inside this frame that we built here. Now all we need is a little handle right here to lock it, keep it from opening up while you're driving. Kind of hard to believe this all started off on just flat sheets of aluminum.
There's an old saying, time to lean, time to clean. I'm never not working. The best way to prove that you're a hard worker to everybody is to pick up a broom and start sweeping when nobody even asks you to. I feel like a lot of cats my age think that they're going to start running a company at the age of 23, which not always is the case. You have to start somewhere and work your way up. You got to do the grunt work and you got to earn it. It all boils down to work ethic. And you get more opportunity to move up. My love of cars started when I was maybe in middle school. My father had a really nice looking truck that he bought one time, and since that day I've always kind of wanted something custom of my own. It's nice to have something that not everybody else has, but something that at the same time says a little bit of something about you. So I decided to go to a trade school, and that's what really kick-started everything for me. Extensive stood out to me just because of the crazy amount of detail that goes into all these cars. I knew I wanted to be a part of that. I'm learning more and more every day, and that's going to bring me right where I need to be.
Parts we made for the 22 International were coming together. John finished the toolbox. We had it all color matched, and it looks great. And to top it all off, we're adding over 100 LED lights.
Bill wanted a ridiculous amount of lights on this truck, and exactly what we're doing. When you think you got enough lights on it, put about 100 more.
So this is the most wiring I've ever put in a vehicle. I know we have a couple thousand feet of wire in this thing, and all of those right here.
We spent a ton of time on this record so far, and I've been wanting to show off what we did. I told him, man, I got you. I'll pick up Blue Thunder on our brand new record, and we'll all go together.
Look who's showing up already. Lord, look at this thing, man. Look at that bumper. Those lights, man.
Whoa, look at those toolboxes.
Damn. You did your thing here.
What you think, man?
Man, that's gorgeous.
That's not the same truck that we just built.
It don't look like it anymore, right? You guys are phenomenal at doing what you're doing, but, just had to take it to the extensive level,
We make sure that it works good, you make sure it looks good.
You never really know how someone's going to take it when you take their work and work on it from there. But, these guys really appreciate what we do.
Look at this, man. Oh.
To have someone like Ryan admire the work that you do, that's a high honor.
Man, look at that. All the lights on the borders and everything, it looks really great.
One of the first things I wanted to do is fill in that big void where the batteries were, the gas tank. You already have the toolboxes in the right spot. Tenuous box pretty much from the front wheel all the way back to the back. And of course we had to split the bumper and make it lower too. So it just looks a lot meaner when it's coming down the road at you.
It's beautiful with the stretch and the molding in there and color match.
I wanted to get rid of all the chrome and just make it all look the same all the way front, all the way to the back.
Man, it looks wonderful. We built a lot of records, like a lot, but nothing like this one. This one is like gorgeous.
Oh, what you doing with my pylon, man?
Had to change up a little bit. Hey, it was cool. But I was envisioning something just to totally cover up the back of the cab. I'd like a little more extra storage. So, we built the toolbox to match, the body itself.
You built that by hand?
That's all handmade in the shop, man. Every bit of it.
I think I need to order like 12 of them from you, man.
We can make that happen.
That toolbox setup really flowed together, and for functionality, it's really, really perfect for the truck.
Once that was all built, we just had to finish it back up, put the light bar back on the top, so it's a legit tow truck now. Speaking of, you ready to get Blue Thunder loaded up?
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Everybody at the shop kills it. I mean, working late, but you know, a team comes together, cool stuff comes about. I'm ready to get to a show off the new record, show off Blue Thunder, show the world